we just be a good franchise?
Alright, we're live.
I just want to be a good franchise.
Maybe if Mike Brown.
Like, I'm not asking for 6. I mean, 6 Super Bowls would be amazing, but I just want to be a good franchise. Like, I'm tired of this. Like, every other team in the AFC is just absolutely raping us so hard.
What?
Like, I'm
Did you
tired
say
of
we're
this.
live or no?
Yeah.
Alright, that's great.
Luckily, nobody's here yet.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Alright. Let me know if you go to YouTube. Let me know if it's on there.
Yeah, it's on.
Alright.
Share.
So yeah, just copy the link. And then post that with the image.
Oh, look, it says we're live.
With the image I just sent you on
this
your
one.
Instagram
Fade.
story.
I'm posting it with the fade filter.
Just copy the link. Can you hear me good?
Yeah.
You can hear everything
Tag
decently.
people.
Alright, perfect.
Oh, shoot. How do I do this?
Just press share.
No, I don't. No, I
Oh,
don't.
here we are.
This card.
Oh!
Alright,
I was making sure you could hear it.
link. Paste.
How do I do this? Do you have to take a picture?
No, I sent the picture to you.
Yeah, just save the picture on your phone and post the story. You are really bad with technology.
This is stupid.
I literally sent the picture to you.
You want me to just post this like massive photo of like?
No, the one that I sent you.
Should we post it on Snapchat too?
You want me to post like this and then?
Yeah. So
Okay.
you put,
Oh, okay.
and then put the link at the bottom. Do you know how to do that?
No.
Okay.
Location.
Okay. Where do I? How do I get out of this? Okay.
Did you press share on the? Go to the sticker, then go. You should say link somewhere right there. And paste it.
Attached to Snap. What if I posted it like this?
Okay. That doesn't matter. Just post it.
I'm
Post it
posting
like what?
No, I'm posting it. I posted it normally on my Instagram. I'm posting it again on my Snap.
All right. So this has it. I have this by position. Should we just do that, or should we go by like order?
I'll just go by whatever.
Okay. Because this, I'm just on PFF and they had it by team and position. So
I would do team.
do team.
Yeah.
Okay. So like I start with like the Cardinals and then end with like, because this is just an alphabetical order. And I'm gonna have the live show open just so I can look at the chat.
All right. I have it posted. Oh gosh.
What?
Patrick Mahomes is restructuring.
I just said this.
We just talked about this. I'm also gonna have Twitter pulled up just in case any madness happens.
Imagine if the Bengals actually do something.
So we're definitely not going to do anything now. The Chiefs are winning their 3rd straight Super Bowl.
Lost.
Screw the NFL, honestly. I just hope Ohio State doesn't absolutely blow chunks this year.
Let's.
Teams interested in making Fields QB1. This is a blank screen.
It is. I don't know what happened to him, but his like stock just went down.
Joel is bawling his eyes out.
Joel is bawling his eyes out.
Dude, he's like in love with Justin Fields. Like he thinks he's like so good.
Oh, I was literally on Twitter. There's some random account saying.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying like
Wow.
just like I mean, no one signed him and.
Noah did not sign him.
He think like Joel thinks he's like so good. Like I think he's solid. I think he'll get like another good chance to play, but I don't think he's as good as Joel thinks he is. I also don't think he's as bad as Isaiah thinks he is though.
Zay thinks he's like not even like worth.
Doucette
NFL
knows too.
start.
Doucette thinks he's like just terrible.
I think Justin Fields played better this year.
I think Justin Fields is not good, but I think if you get him in a good situation, he has the potential to be good. Not great,
Yeah,
good.
I can agree with that.
Yeah.
Because he played better this year with DJ Moore, but he just didn't play good enough to warrant being the Bears' full-time starter.
Yeah,
He didn't
and
play
I mean
like
the Bears organization is a dumpster fire, anyways.
Tell me when just it's centered.
Yeah.
The Bears' entire organization is just an absolute joke of an organization too. So what the?
Did that do
Yeah,
anything?
that's cool. It's good now.
Right there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh wait, no, now it's off center. This is behind a little bit.
Shoot!
This is a little jank, but no one's. I don't think anyone's actually watching it. So it's okay. You know, just trying to get the. Oh, okay, we're fine.
Did you guys see Twitter at all today with my my rants that I went on today? I went on multiple rants.
I did see them. I chose not to interact
All right.
with any of them.
What about now,
They're all
Nick?
dumb.
Hold
on.
Why?
It zoomed in.
It's zoomed in.
Yeah, it was zoomed in more than it was.
You didn't even interact at all. You didn't even like my Cowboys ones.
Oh, I didn't see those.
Which ones did you see?
I can't even remember.
I went off
That
on
was good
Twitter
for you.
today. I had a good time on Twitter today.
I might zoom it up just a tiny bit. I don't know why I got so zoomed in.
I had fun on Twitter.
Yeah, I saw that. All right, how's it look now, Nick?
That looks better.
Is there more space around it?
Yeah.
All right, that's fine.
Did Chase tear his meniscus?
He said he might have.
What's the meniscus again? Oh, that's the
It's
ow,
like the
ow.
knee ligament. I think he said after the gym one day he was just like going down the stairs in his house and he slipped.
Oh gosh,
And like, yeah.
that's brutal.
Said he felt like a pop in his knee or something. I was like, that's terrible.
It's not good.
That's tough.
On the road
All right,
again.
we'll get started here in a sec.
Hopefully he did not tear his meniscus.
That would be tragic. That would be on his Preston arc.
We've scooped a tiny bit.
That would be a disaster. Work days and doing kids.
Are we good? Can everyone hear everything?
I can't snap.
Nice.
I cannot snap.
Alright. Ready?
Yeah.
Play it.
Hello everybody, welcome to the lunch table. My name is Evan Sam, joined with Nick and Zach. And today we're going to be reacting to NFL free agency. Today was day 2 of NFL free agency, so we're going to kind of just go through all the big moves that happened, and we're going to just kind of give our thoughts on them, because it's been a crazy 48 hours. And yeah, hope you all enjoy. But before we dive in, make sure to like and subscribe, because we're getting close to 100 subscribers, so let's reach that. And to follow us on Instagram and TikTok, LunchTable.takes. First off, we'll start with, should we go team by team, or how?
Yeah, let's go team by team.
Team by team.
We're gonna have fun with our team.
That's, we were just talking about that a lot.
I mean, we're live. They probably heard half of it from on.
Yeah. I don't know if I can tell if he was actually watching.
See who else viewing, I guess.
Alright, so we'll start with the Arizona Cardinals. They haven't really made a whole lot of moves, but their biggest move was they signed Sean Murphy Bunting for 3 years, $25.5 million, to kind of boost up that secondary. I mean, decent. Probably don't need to really talk too
We
much
got
about that.
15 viewers.
So we'll start with the Falcons. So the Falcons, they probably made the biggest move in free agency, signing Kirk Cousins to 4 years, $180 million. What did you guys think of that contract, and what do you think Kirk's fit with the Falcons?
I really liked it. I thought it was a good fit.
Yeah, I think that it's
I think it was a
great
great signing.
for Kirk Cousins.
Mm-hmm. And the Falcons.
Yeah, I think it benefits the Falcons more than does Kirk Cousins because now they actually have a legitimate single caller. And I think that they're now clear favorites to win that division. Like, I think it's kind of their division to lose. Tampa Bay is going to be competitive because we'll get to that. We'll get to them.
The Falcons should win this.
Yeah,
division.
the Falcons should easily win the NFC South.
I mean, look here. So they've always had quite a bit of talent. They got Kyle Pitts, who is an absolute stud that they just didn't use. Bijan Robinson was a generational running back who they don't use. Even Tyler Algier is good. And then you've got Drake London, who is a solid player. Then you got Bates, and I don't even know who else on defense, but they got a lot of talent. And they got rid of their joke of a coach. I don't even know why he's a coach. He should not have the title as a coach. He's more of an overseer. So they got rid of that moron. And they brought in an actually good quarterback because going into last season, they had the worst quarterback in the NFL and the worst coach in all of football at every level. So it was going to be a rough. It was going to be a rough go for them. But now they got rid of both of those situations and they replaced them with far better situations. So, and Kirk Cousins, yeah, he's 35. He's coming off a torn Achilles. But with the way the medical field is these days, I think he's going to be all right. Before he tore it, he was on pace to have his best season ever, in his career.
He was on pace.
He was leading the league in yards.
He could have won MVP if he stayed healthy.
He was leading the league in yards. He was on pace to have a great season. I think Kirk Cousins is going to be fine. So I feel like the Vikings kind of blundered this one, to be honest with you. But I think that Kirk Cousins is going to do quite well in the Falcons.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't know what was happening behind the scenes in Minnesota. They might have felt like Kirk Cousins leaving was writing on the wall.
Yeah.
So we don't know if they really had an expectation of bringing Kirk Cousins back after this year. The thing that concerns me with this deal is the 4-year factor. He's 36. You said he's coming off.
I think he's 35, isn't he?
I think he's 35 or 36. He's going to be 35. Okay, he's going to be close to 40 by the time this deal's done.
Mm-hmm.
NFL quarterbacks are playing until 40. Tom Brady played till he was 45. So playing till 40 is not out of the question, but.
I think he'll be all right.
Yeah, an Achilles tear is a serious injury. So there is a question mark when it comes to that. But if he plays even remotely like he was playing this year, the Falcons could be a very, very good football team, especially offensively.
I think he'll be okay. But I also think that I wouldn't expect him to be 35. He doesn't play like he's 35. If you watch him play, you think he's early 30s, going into his prime. You know what I'm saying? He plays a lot younger than he is, so I feel like age. I'm not super concerned about his age. We'll see about his Achilles because that is a pretty significant injury. But as long as he comes back well from the Achilles, I'm not really concerned with the age at all.
Yeah, should be a nice.
Yeah,
nice
I think it was a really good pickup for sure.
For Atlanta.
I mean, they are just really. I mean, I've had multiple times when I've went off about the Falcons, and they've really fixed both of their issues. So I mean, I'm pretty excited to see where this team goes here. I think they got. I mean, the division's wide open. They should win the division. Yeah. If Kirk Cousins recovers and is playing well, they might be able to go to a divisional round. They might. I mean, who knows? I think this is going to be a good football team.
Yeah, I think everyone kind of knew that once this team got a quarterback, they were looking like a pretty good team because obviously, like you all mentioned, Pitts, Drake London, and Bijan being the top 3 weapons on offense that any quarterback's going to want to have them. And so I think Kirk, like you guys said, coming off his best season, he's been phenomenal, and he's been one of the most consistent quarterbacks in the league. I think his completion percentage is his career is 65% or something like that. So he's always been a super consistent guy. He was just having his best year, but he is 35 coming off an Achilles injury, so we might have to hamper expectations a little bit, and it might take a little bit for them to kind of, gel. But I like what the Falcons have done this offseason, bringing in Kirk, their new coach, Robert Morris. I think they're heading in the right direction, and I think they're kind of going the route of like the Texans, where we knew they had the pieces. They just needed that quarterback and coach, yeah. And we'll see if Kirk
we cannot forget about that.
You will not let us forget about that.
That's the biggest part. They could have probably won 9 games in the NFC with a different coach, even with Desmond Ridder.
But they should definitely win the NFC South, barring some drastic changes. But no, their offense is going to be really good. The only issue is that defense. Like we said, they have a couple pieces on defense, but the defense isn't to the point where you can contend consistently in the NFC. And so I think they'll probably address that in the draft, I would assume. But love this signing for them. I think it was kind of the traction there kind of started going right before free agency ended up actually starting, because a lot of people thought Fields was going to go there. But then once Kirk Cousins' name kind of went in there, the Fields hype kind of died down, and he still hasn't found a new team yet. But I think it's great for the Falcons, and hopefully Kirk does well, because I would like to see the Falcons together. Fun team.
And everybody loves Kirk Cousins. Yeah. He's just a good guy.
But I more like this for fantasy purposes, because
the Falcons
actually
draft Falcons players, knowing that they could do something.
Yeah, dude, before this year, Bijan Robinson was even a risk. I wouldn't have drafted Bijan Robinson last year.
I drafted him in the first round.
Yeah, and that was a risk.
All right. I think it was the 7th running back.
Yeah, that's
which
good.
Is okay.
That's worth. Is it first round worthy? Probably.
But it was a risky play though, and he was the only one. You can't. I mean, Kyle Pitts, you don't want to touch him with a 10-foot pole because of their head coach.
Yeah. I think Kyle Pitts is gonna have his best season since his rookie year with Kirk, because Kirk loves to throw to his tight ends.
Oh,
he
yeah.
got Hawkinson, and whoever.
I think Kyle Pitts is gonna be good.
I think he's gonna have his best year by far.
He could be on Pro Bowl level.
Yeah,
he's gonna be a good player this year.
We know
Kirk Cousins will unlock him.
Nice.
It's fixed now.
I love how it knocks yours down and none of us.
But yeah, no, I'm excited for Kyle Pitts, because I think a lot of people, he had this generational tag.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of people expected him to be better than he has been. And so hopefully with a good quarterback he does well. And if he doesn't end up doing well with a good quarterback,
it might be time to move on.
Then he's a bust. But
he might just be not who we thought he was.
But see, here's the thing. This guy is 6'6". He's 250 pounds ish. These are rough estimates. He might be 6'5", 230 or 240 something. I don't know. Either way, I'm in the ballpark. He's a big dude, and he ran
6'6", 246.
Okay,
yeah,
so
you were pretty much right on the money.
And he runs a 4.4 40. When he was at Florida, they put him everywhere on the field. They put him at wideout. They put him in the slot. They put him at down tight end. This dude, this is just a weapon. This dude is just a freak athlete and just an absolute weapon. I would kill for the Bengals. If the Bengals had Kyle Pitts, dude, oh my gosh. But this dude is a freak, okay? Unless he's just an aggressive bust for some reason unbeknownst to man. This dude's a freak athlete. He's got a lot of potential. If you just have a coach that is worth anything in the world, this guy's gonna get used. You know what I'm saying? If I'm the head coach of the Falcons, Kyle Pitts is the focal point of this offense. I am gonna use him in I will use him like Florida did. I will put him everywhere, every receiving position I will put him at. He is just such a freak athlete and is so, he's just such a stud. You can't not use this guy. So I am pumped to see him with a competent coach and a good quarterback, man. I think he's gonna be unlocked. I mean, like you said, if he still struggles, then I think it is okay, he was just a bust. I don't know how, but I think he's going to do really well. I mean, this dude is just an unbelievable athlete. I mean, he's going to be the wide receiver 1. Drake London's a good receiver, and he's a heck of an athlete as well. But, I mean, dude, if it's me, Kyle Pitts is my wide receiver 1.
Yeah.
I think he is.
I think it'll be it'll be good because like obviously Arthur Smith was more of a run heavy coach. That was his.
But he wouldn't even use his running back.
I know, but and so he had Johnny Smith in a lot of packages for some reason, and he would use Kyle Pitts as a blocking tight end. So obviously, like
Which is not as good at.
I know. So Kyle Pitts hasn't been used correctly, and so with a coach that is coming from the McVay tree.
Oh yeah.
He knows how to run. He should know how to run offense. I would assume.
Somewhat. He's more of a defensive mind.
Yeah,
but like, dude, if you've got
being around McVay, you kind of can get how like an offense is ran. And so I think I don't know who their OC is. I can't remember who they brought in.
It doesn't matter
If you utilize him so well now, like obviously with Johnny Smith gone, like he's the only tight end on the roster,
dude,
so you have no excuse.
If you are like even a somewhat average football coach that knows anything about the game of football, and you walk in to the Atlanta Falcons headquarters and you see this towering monstrosity that runs like a 4-4, like if you don't give him the ball every play, you should be fired immediately. Like, I mean, and like you said, like what's this Arthur Smith would use him. He would use him as like a blocking tight end, or he just wouldn't even have him in because he would bring in Johnny Smith, who is more of a blocking tight end. It's like this dude is an absolute moron. Like he's just not using his players, number one, in the ways that they're good at, and number two, at all. They just weren't even on the field. I mean, like, it was beyond me. And I'm so happy to have this fixed. I think that we're going to see a very potent Falcons offense, and we're going to see an 1,000-yard, possible Pro Bowl Kyle Pitts, unless he busts.
This went from a Kirk Cousins conversation
Arthur
to Arthur Smith.
I thought we were past this,
Without,
considering he's no longer the head coach of the Falcons.
Without fail.
Well, hey, I'm just telling you that I am. And you know, honestly,
No, we're done with Arthur Smith.
No, I'm just
we're
saying,
done with him.
that is what Kyle Pitts is the sole reason why my Arthur Smith just like fuming anger started. Because this
Because
dude,
you had him on your fantasy team, he didn't do anything for you for 2 years.
not only that, but because of being a football fan, this guy is a monster, and they just didn't use him. It's like this guy is a moron.
Well, hopefully they use him correctly this year. We get to see his full potential. But the Falcons also signed Darnell Mooney for 3 years, $39 million to kind of add to that receiver core because outside of Drake London, there was nobody. Like I don't know, Mac Hollins maybe.
I like this signing a lot
I do
because let's see, if we look at the Falcons team, like I said, Kyle Pitts is their wide receiver one, but like their receiving core is just tall dudes, tall, bigger dudes.
Mhm.
So Darnell Mooney, it's like because he's a little bit more of a speedster, you know.
You can take the top off.
So it's gonna be that's a good signing, and he's young too. What is he? 24,
26.
26? Okay, that's a good signing. Because obviously he was a former Bear, as we all know, and nobody succeeds as a Bear. So you know, get him out of Chicago and on a team that he will fit in well with because the rest of the receiving guys are big dudes, tall guys. I think it's going to work out pretty well. How tall is he?
5'11".
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is going to go well.
Here's my thing. You said 3 years, $39 million. You're paying $13 million a year for a guy who has less than 1,000 yards combined in these last 2 seasons.
I mean, it might be an overpay, but either way, they got him, so
he's crazy overpay.
They're hoping
But
to get
hey,
in 2021.
yeah.
But hey, at least they got a guy that they're going to use. And they have a lot of cap
They
space.
needed somebody.
Yeah.
I know.
I mean, their receiving room was literally Drake London and then Kyle Pitts, but they never even used
I
him.
understand that.
So, like,
$13 million a year is crazy.
Yeah, that's
for him. That is wild. That is a wild overpay.
well, hey, at least they got him in there to use him.
Yeah. I mean, I've said the same thing about Christian
They
Kirk.
got money to work with.
I said the same thing about Christian Kirk when he signed with the Jaguars, like a lot of NFL fans did, and then Christian Kirk actually ends up being like a pretty solid wide receiver one for the Jaguars.
We could be seeing that.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to be a Christian Kirk, but I think he's going to be a solid.
He should have a pretty good role.
He should
I
have
think he'll
more
step
than
in and have a
400
good role.
yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, he'll step in and he'll have a good role with this team because now they're going to be running with Drake London, and then he'll be the speedster, and then Kyle Pitts is their guy if it's me.
They're
But
gonna have to get.
they got a good room
a
now.
receiver because I don't know exactly who they have. I can look at their depth chart, but I think it's interesting.
They gotta draft a receiver or something. They just get
No,
depth.
they're gonna draft defense.
I think
Not
They have to
every
draft
round.
defense. I mean, we'll see.
I think they could. Van Jefferson's the wide receiver 3 right
That's not terrible.
now. No, but
Their receiving room could be a lot worse.
their wide receivers are Drake London, Darnell Mooney, Matt Collins, Scotty Miller, and Van Jefferson.
It could be worse.
Yeah.
I mean, Kyle Pitts, like I said. In my eyes, you're rolling Kyle Pitts, Drake London, and Darnell Mooney.
So maybe second round, if a wide receiver falls, they could be enticed to take that. But I agree. Nick. I think they should take a defensive player with their 8th overall pick. Which you should check out our mock draft, by the way, mock draft 1.0, where we talk more in depth about who we think each team should draft. So you guys should go check that out. But speaking of Justin Fields, Parker Belcher said that he thinks Fields should go to Minnesota or the Bears keep Fields and draft Marvin Harrison.
Who's Parker? Parker who?
Belcher?
Is this a Twitter account?
No, this is.
Oh, is he on?
comment.
Oh.
So, what do you guys think? Fields to Minnesota?
What was it? Replay that.
Fields to
Replay that.
Minnesota or the Bears keep Fields and get Marvin Harrison? Or that can turn to where do you
Fields to
think
Minnesota?
where do you think Fields goes?
You know, Noah was talking about that earlier today. I don't know if I really like that. Fields to Minnesota.
I just don't think they would trade in
I don't think they
division.
trade in division either.
Yeah.
But it's like, he's not going to Pittsburgh. He's not going to Atlanta. Where's
We're
he
running
going?
out of teams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're running out of options to deal with.
Well, and Justin Jefferson made a comment about he might like having Justin Fields.
Rather have
Yeah.
him, maybe rather have him than Sam Darnold.
Well, I would rather have a few
Justin
players.
Fields than
Yeah.
Sam Darnold.
But I mean, I think I wouldn't hate the Bears. Well, okay. See, here's the weird thing though. The Bears, like, it's time for the Bears to just go a different direction, right?
Yeah.
It's time for them to just kind of overhaul the franchise. But see, here's the weird thing. They kept Eberflus. I think they should have fired him and just completely.
Yeah, I don't think Eberflus is a good head coach.
I think the Bears should just completely renovate their entire team. But if they're going to keep Eberflus, maybe they do keep Justin Fields and draft Marvin Harrison. I mean, that's not a bad idea. If you actually get Justin Fields some like protection and some weapons, then he probably won't be terrible. But I just think it's time the Bears to just go completely. I think the Bears need to clean house. I think they got to get rid of the head coach, and I think Justin Fields is better off on a different team.
Yeah, I think Justin Fields needs to change the scenery.
The Bears in general, like they just need to overhaul it. Like
Yeah,
it is that time.
The Bears have to. I think they have to draft Caleb Williams at one. Here's the thing.
Well, I don't think Caleb Williams is going to be that good.
My thing is that every NFL organization has the end goal of winning a Super Bowl. And every organization should be making moves to win you a Super Bowl at every point in every offseason, right? Is keeping Justin Fields and drafting Marvin Harrison Jr. really getting you, like, yeah, you have one of the best receiving corps in the NFL with Marvin Harrison Jr., DJ Moore, and Cole Kmet, right? But is Justin Fields really the guy to win you a Super Bowl? I don't think he is.
I don't really know if Caleb Williams is going to.
I think Caleb Williams has a much better shot of winning a Super Bowl than Justin Fields does. I don't think that's even like.
We haven't
competition.
seen this guy step foot on the field yet in the NFL.
I still think. I mean, we know what Justin Fields is, and I think.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm also not. I'm also
It's
just
not like
saying.
it's not like Justin Fields had no weapons. He had DJ Moore and Cole Kmet. He had plenty of options to throw to.
Two.
To DJ Moore and Cole Kmet.
Yeah, two.
That's more than a lot of other teams have. DJ Moore's a fantastic wide receiver. Cole Kmet's one of the best tight ends in football.
Okay, number one though, DJ Moore wants Justin Fields to stay.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I think it's time that the Bears go a different route. So I'm actually agreeing. However, I'm not anointing Caleb Williams. I'm sick of that talk. I'm not saying like you. I'm just like the media in general. I am sick and tired of this Caleb Williams hype. Noah's with me on this, and I'm glad he is. But I am just literally vomiting daily from this Caleb Williams hype talk. I'm so tired.
I'm not getting into this conversation.
One
with
thing
Caleb
that
Williams.
I
You're into that hype, aren't you?
I'm not in this conversation.
Do you think he's gonna be the next Mahomes?
I don't think he's going to be. I think people calling him the next Mahomes is more akin to how they play the game than the actual talent. But I think he's the best quarterback prospect since at least Trevor Lawrence, if not before that.
Yeah.
he's a crybaby
I think
who hasn't won an important game in his entire college career.
Alright, we're not having this conversation. Move on to the next team.
No, seriously.
We're not having this conversation.
No, we are. What important game has he won?
It's not his fault his defense gives up 50 points a game.
I'm just saying.
The thing, like, if you want to go by wins, then, like, J.J. McCarthy's
Yeah, then you think J.J. McCarthy should be drafted higher than Caleb Williams.
No, but my point is that I don't think Caleb Williams is going to be a good player because I think he's a crybaby. I don't think he's like.
Well, there's a lot of quarterbacks that didn't win as much in college that still had like enough success in the NFL.
Do you really think he's got the character to be a good NFL quarterback? Like, does he not remind you?
He might not, but
as
if I'm the
Manziel,
Bears and I have a history of century of never having a good quarterback, I'm taking the chance on one of the best quarterbacks, like prospects we've seen since Trevor Lawrence. I'm taking that chance and hoping that it works out. And like, who was the Bills GM? He's like, if it doesn't work out, I won't be here.
Right.
So I think you have to take him because we've talked about this. Like, I think at best Justin Fields is like a triple, but at best Caleb Williams, his ceiling would be as a home run grandstand pick. Like, Caleb Williams, if he hits, changes the entire trajectory of that franchise. Justin Fields, he's been, this is
going to be his fourth year.
Yeah, you already know kind of what Justin Fields is. And so, like, Nick's big argument, which I agree, like, can you see Justin Fields winning a Super Bowl? No. Can you see Caleb Williams winning a Super Bowl? Don't know, but more so than I can with Justin Fields.
Like Caleb, they lost. I'm going to pull up this Tulane game, this 46-45 loss in the Cotton Bowl, not this past year, but the year before. He had 462 yards, 71%
His
completion
defenses
percentage.
have been historically.
Yeah, he had 5 touchdowns and 1 pick. They lost 46-45. That's not on Caleb Williams at all. He does everything in his power.
I am just going to remove myself from this conversation because I can see that you guys are very much on the same page. And you are very angry and very passionate for some reason about Caleb Williams, so I will just remove myself.
One thing that I think something that's interesting about Justin Fields' situation is, like, they kind of made it clear that they were going to move on from Fields.
Yeah.
But I feel like there really hasn't been a market for him. Like, they were hyping this up to be like, oh, like, Justin Fields is like a big market
We'll get a premier return for him.
But like,
it's not.
You have teams like, obviously, I felt they were going to wait till Baker and Kirk kind of go places, and then everybody was like, well, after those two guys, the next option is going to be Fields. But we saw, like, the Raiders sign Gardner Minshew, the Vikings sign Sam Darnold. Like, teams are going other routes than immediately calling up the Bears and trying to get Fields. So I'm kind of curious if that his trade market was kind of just overhyped or like smokescreen, or if he actually has a trade market and teams are just, or if maybe Chicago's asking for too much. I don't know, but I think
Chicago's asking for too much. I just don't think teams want to give up a premier pick for a guy that has been shaky at best at this point throughout his NFL career.
Yeah.
If he was a free agent, I think he would have already been snatched up by now. He would have been snatched up like first day of free agency. Yeah. Some team would have taken a flyer on him. But the fact that he's still under contract, I don't think the team's going to want to trade like a second round or a first round pick or multiple picks for Justin Fields at this point in time.
Yeah. I mean, like, even like the Steelers were a team and they went with Russ.
Yeah.
And
like
then,
the vet minimum.
Yeah. And then like the Falcons were a team, but obviously you got that Kirk Cousins. But I just find it interesting that this whole offseason the talk has been Caleb Williams or Fields, and then once it was kind of Caleb Williams, okay, where does Fields go? And then he had this laundry list of teams that would be potentially interested, and now that list is down to 2 or 3, and we're hearing talks that he could even be traded to be a backup. Like, I feel like the whole narrative has changed to where, like, this guy, he could, like, given a different opportunity, different change of scenery, could be a franchise guy to now where he could be a potential backup to some of these teams. I find it interesting how the entire dynamic of Justin Fields changed within the last 48 hours, really. I found that kind of interesting. Here, do you want to? Someone asked about the Bengals. Do you want to talk about the Bengals?
We'll get to them in a few.
What's the question?
It was just, what do you guys think the Bengals should do with their running back situation?
Wow. I mean, they already kind of solved their running back situation. They
done
signed
deal.
Zach Moss.
Yeah, Zach Moss and Chase Brown. We'll get into
We'll get into that in a little bit.
But let's talk about one of their division rivals, the Baltimore Ravens. Made a big signing today, signing Derrick Henry to 2 years, $16 million. What do y'all feel about that signing? For the Ravens?
I think that the Ravens cemented themselves as the class of the AFC North with this signing. If they weren't already, I think this year was kind of like, yeah, the Ravens were by far the best team in the division, but like the Bengals were hurt. The Steelers, Steelers aren't really in that conversation, but the Browns, they lost their quarterback too. I think the Ravens needed to do something to kind of like take some pressure off of Lamar Jackson. And I think signing Derrick Henry is going to do wonders for them. He wasn't like the destroyer of worlds that he had been in years past. Part of that might be due to like old age. Part of that might be due to like he was the only player offensively on that Titans team, and all teams had to do was just focus on him.
Yeah.
But I think he's still really good. I think he's still going to do wonders for that Ravens offense. And I think it's now the Ravens division to lose at this point.
I mean, he led the league in carries and was second in the league in rush yards. Yeah, and he joins a team that they like to run the ball, and they have the best running quarterback. And so, I mean, I think, yes, he's 30, but obviously from his stats last year, still has some stuff left in the tank. Yeah, I mean, as a Bengals fan, I was not very happy about this, but yeah, like the Ravens, they're gonna be a tough team to get past to go to that. Like to win the division, and they're probably still right where they were last year, where they're Super Bowl contending team.
Yeah, they have to be for sure. I mean, I think we're gonna get to some of the guys they lost defensively here in a second, but I mean that offense. Good luck stopping that running game. Like it's that running game combined with that elite offensive line. You got Zay Flowers, Odell Beckham Jr. as receivers. Mark Andrews comes back from his injury late in the season. Like, good luck stopping that. I don't know if there's any teams that are going to be able to in the AFC.
I mean, you guys pretty much hit on it. I'm not happy with it, obviously. I think the Bengals are cooked. That's really about my only thoughts on that. A lot better than J.K. Dobbins and the other guys they had.
Yeah, that's for sure. This didn't happen in free agency, but it happened right before. Nick, you kind of called this. The Bills released
cut their entire defense.
Yeah, and you kind of said that their loss to Kansas City could alter the way that team runs things from here on out, and it kind of came to fruition with them calling literally.
Yeah, I mean, Jordan Poyer is gone. I'm blanking on a lot.
Jordan Poyer, Trey White, Mitch Morse, those are the big ones.
Yeah, there's been so much stuff happening in the NFL, I've already forgotten that even happened. Yeah, the Bills are doing a full reset on the defensive side of the football. And kind of had to happen. They were last in the NFL in cap space. They were almost $40 million over the cap limit when this period started. So, cutting Trey White, Jordan Poyer, a couple of the other guys kind of had to happen to save some room. Have they don't have Gabe Davis anymore either.
No,
he's gone.
Jacksonville.
Yeah. So we'll see. I think the Bills might be one of the teams to regress this upcoming season because, they have Josh Allen, but we don't have any idea what that defense is going to look like. So their defense will definitely take a step back. But I mean, we'll see. We'll see with Buffalo. It was kind of a writing on the wall situation for me. I kind of saw this coming. Even before they lost Kansas City, I was like, this is their last year of an all-in push because they just don't have the money to keep these players around.
Yeah.
Then it kind of just had to happen.
Yeah. We should talk about that more in depth in our Bills offseason breakdown. You should also check out. Yeah, I mean the Bills they haven't really made any huge signings. I mean they kind of just re-signed and extended some of the guys that we kind of talked about. Their biggest signing was probably Mitch Trubisky. The Panthers, they made a big move. They traded Brian Burns to the Giants for a second and fifth, I believe. And I think I showed you guys this tweet, but the Panthers they traded Brian Burns, Christian McCaffrey, and DJ Moore, and they have given away more first-round picks in those packages than receiving first-round picks. So, I mean, what did you guys think of that trade? And, I mean, we can also just talk about how terribly running the Panthers
Yeah, I think this is going to devolve into just the Panthers being one of the laughing stocks of the NFL over the past 5 or so years. I don't know the last time I've seen an organization handle 3 players like the caliber of Brian Burns, DJ Moore, and Christian McCaffrey this poorly. Yeah. And also the fact that they traded up for, I mean, Bryce Young still has time, but that is looking like an abomination of a trade too.
That's probably the worst trade that I can think of since I've been alive as a sports fan.
Yeah, it's like
That's up there.
it's bad. If Bryce Young doesn't pan out, obviously he's got time if the Panthers actually surround him with a supporting cast. But as of right now, it is looking like the Panthers have reset themselves for the next 5-10 years. Like they're looking at a long, arduous, rough rebuild. It's not looking great for them.
Yeah, they're terrible.
I just don't know how you have those 3 guys in their primes and you don't get like any first-round picks for them. Like CMC, I understand because he was coming off of like heavily.
I don't. He's one of the best players in the NFL.
Yeah, but when he was traded, he was a huge question mark. He was heavily injured, and you kind of
Running back value is not super high.
Yeah, but Brian Burns, like the Rams offered them 2 first-round picks, they declined it like a couple years back. And then with DJ Moore, you give up a first-round pick in order to trade up to number 1. Like,
And then you don't even draft the best quarterback in the class.
yeah, like they've made some really bad moves that, like you said, Nick, that's really hampered what their future is going to look like. And it's super limited. But I mean, I think that was a good trade for the Giants. I mean, I would give up a 2nd and a 5th for Brian.
Yeah, Brian Burns is one of the better. He's not like in the elite category like a Miles Garrett or a like Max Crosby where it's like elite defensive ends, but he's in that second tier where it's like you can definitely do some damage with a guy like Brian Burns on your team. I think at that point the Giants kind of questioned me because I think Brian Burns deserves to go on a team that's like good or contending, but
and they're not.
yeah, they're not that yet. He's still young. He's not like late in his career. But I think the Panthers are kind of just whoever gives the best offer for Brian. I don't care who it is. And the Giants were like, hey, we'll give a second round pick basically for him. Hopefully start our rebuild on the defensive side of the football at least. But yeah, it was Panthers are a mess. Dave Tepper's like one of the worst owners in football.
He probably is
I
now.
think he's the worst.
Yeah,
I think he is the worst.
it's bad in Carolina. I'm sorry if you're a Panthers fan. You're in a dark spot right now. It might get better. I don't really know.
It's not paying better.
Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, if Bryce Young doesn't pan out, they are actually cooked. Like you said, the Bengals are cooked. The Panthers are actually like deep fried. If they don't.
If Bryce Young
doesn't pan out.
Yeah, if Bryce Young is not good, then they're gonna. I mean, it's gonna be about a decade rebuild.
Yeah, it's gonna be rough.
They're gonna be just the worst team in the NFL for the next like 5 years. If he doesn't pay, no more than 5, 10.
Well, they got him some help. They signed Robert Hunt for 5 years, $100 million. Damian Lewis for 4 years, $53 million, and then just traded. I think it was a 6th round pick for Deontay Johnson. So
that was good.
Yeah. So I mean, they're helping them out a little bit. I think 5 years, $100 million to Robert Hunt might be a little steep, but the guards were kind of flying off the board really quickly, and they were kind of getting paid a lot. So it might be a decent deal. I don't know. And Robert Hunt's young, but they desperately needed to fix that whole line.
I mean, how much cap space these guys have?
A lot. They had a decent amount.
So they can just throw around their money.
Yeah. But I mean, Bryce Young was running for his life the majority of the time. And then now you have Deontay Johnson and Jonathan Mingo still there. You hope he can take a next step in year 2. And who's the other receiver?
Is DJ Shark still there or no?
He's a free agent.
Okay.
And I forget who the other receiver.
And that's not great if we're already forgetting him.
But they do have the 33rd overall pick, so they could be in line to draft a receiver there, which I would advise. They have Adam Thielen, that's who it was. Adam Thielen, but he's obviously old. So yeah, they'll probably I would assume even though they do have Deontay Johnson, they'll still be in line to draft a receiver at 33. I think you can definitely get a guy who kind of slipped out of the first round and still first round talent there at 33. And they've also been in T. Higgins rumors and stuff like that. So I think the door is still open for them to make a couple moves, but you had like the biggest thing for their future is Bryce Young's development. If he's not good, then you're not going to be a good team.
Yeah. PFF is saying that Robert Hunt was the 6th best guard this past season.
I knew he was good.
And I think he said he was like the 28th best free agent O-lineman.
Okay.
So $100 million a year for him is probably a slight overpay, but like he was really good.
It's over 5 years. That's what 20
Yeah.
a year.
PFF's not great at like football analysis. They're not like elite at football analysis, but in terms of like, because I'm not going to pretend and sit here that I watch every single rep of every offensive lineman.
Yeah.
But I
That
think
would be really deep.
yeah, but they have guys that do watch most reps of every offensive lineman, and they, for the most part, do a pretty good job at like O-line and like kind of less glamorous position grades. So yeah, Robert Hunt, he's a really good guard, really good offensive lineman. $100 million is probably a little bit of an overpay, but the Panthers need to do something to get Bryce Young.
Man, that'd be brutal if T. Higgins went there.
Yeah.
That would just be terrible for him.
It'd be better than the Patriots.
Would it?
Maybe. I don't know.
We'll stand.
Depending
think
on the Patriots.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, this is the worst franchise in the NFL we're talking about here.
We'll talk about T. Higgins in a minute. Alright, let's talk about the Bears. So they re-signed Jalen Johnson. That was their big re-signing. We said that they definitely needed to do that. They also signed Kevin Byard for 2 years, $15 million.
That's really good. That's a bargain for them.
Also brought in DeAndre Swift for 3 years, 24, and Jared Everett at 2 years, 12. So they've made a couple of moves.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt like they were decent at running back with Khalil Herbert and Roshan Johnson. I didn't feel there was a huge need for that, but I mean, DeAndre Swift was pretty solid last year. And so having 3 years, 24 isn't a terrible contract. That's roughly like $7, $8 million a year.
It's $8 million a year.
Yeah, and I like the Kevin Byard. He brings in another vet safety because they released Eddie Jackson, so he brings in a safety alongside Jaquan Brisker, which can help that defense. And then, like we said, if they draft Caleb and eventually end up trading Fields, whatever compensation they get for Fields can also help build that team. So they spent a lot of their cap space last year. That they made a bunch of big splashes, but I feel like they've done decent. Jared Everett's a good tight end to bring along with Cole Kmet. He's another kind of really good receiving tight end. We've seen that in LA. And then, DeAndre Swift, he's kind of been up and down, but you just hope you can kind of get the best out of him. And Byard was bad with the Eagles, but he was good. He's still Pro Bowl.
Yeah, he was good with Tennessee. DeAndre Swift is a weird one for me because I don't know how to accurately judge DeAndre Swift because like he had over 1,000 yards last year, good. 4.6 yards a carry, okay. 5 touchdowns, not great. But a lot of those touchdowns were stolen from Jalen Hurts in the tush push at the 1 or 2 yard line. But also DeAndre Swift was playing behind like probably the best offensive line in football on a run heavy team. So it's like I don't think DeAndre Swift is like that much of a game changer for me, especially because you alluded to the Bears were like okay at running back. But I think DeAndre Swift is an improvement from Khalil Herbert and Roshan Johnson. I think we'll get an accurate representation of how good of a running back he like actually is this year. Because going from the Eagles to the Bears is a downgrading situation in terms of a running back. But
I still think this was a very necessary move.
yeah, the DeAndre Swift one's questionable, but
I didn't think it was necessary either.
They
think-
have more pressing needs.
yeah, I think the Kevin Byard one was really good though, and re-signing Jalen Johnson's huge for the future of that secondary for sure.
Do we have any other interesting questions coming in?
Not right now.
Gotcha.
But we're about to talk about the Bengals.
Oh boy.
They're the next team on the list.
Should I just get a stopwatch to see how long this segment is?
You can't.
Alright.
Would you like to start us
I
off?
don't even know where to start. Like, I don't know where to go here.
I'll just say what they did. So they franchise tagged T. Higgins, but then T. Higgins requested a trade. That's been one of the biggest headlines. And they signed Geno Stone for 2 years, $15 million signed Zach Moss for 2 years, $8 million, and then traded Joe Mixon to the Texans for a, I think, 7th round pick. So,
I have to like get my bearings for this. Like, I mean, what are we doing right now? Like, I mean, like, why? Like, it's just, I mean, T. Higgins, like, okay, like, we have enough money to pay him. Like, why are we not paying him, first of all? Like, why is it not a thing we're doing?
he might be wanting more than.
Well, yeah, second of all, his agent's a terrible
If
person.
he wants like top
I
10
think
receiver in the league money, that you
I-
can't pay him that.
I think that's what he wants.
Yeah, he's not a top 10 receiver in the league.
And
He's not
second,
even close to a top 10 receiver in the league.
ooh, I wouldn't go that far, but I could say he's not, but I would not say he's not even close. But anyways, his agent is a terrible person. His agent is one of the
He
worst
wants the
people
best
to
for his
walk.
client. What are you talking about?
One of the worst people to walk this planet.
He's just doing
That agent has single-handedly made us lose Higgins and Bates.
You haven't even lost T. Higgins yet.
Like, he is an awful, awful person. If I was an NFL team, I just would never do business with him. Like, all of his all of his clients just get aggressively overpaid. He's just a
Isn't Jesse Bates like one of
Terrible.
the best safeties in the NFL?
terrible
now?
person. Terrible
He's
person.
looking out for the betterment of his client.
Yeah, he's looking out for
He is
So,
an
T.
awful
Higgins'
person.
doing a
projected
job.
contract would be $23.5 million for 4 years.
Like, if the man wants to stay in Cincinnati,
Like
let him
$23.5
stay.
mil a year. Okay, just making sure. I was about to be like, if you're projecting like $24 mil over 4
No,
years,
no.
I was about to, what? I was like, what are they doing?
Basically $24 million for a year.
Yeah.
Like,
are you paying them $24 mil a year? With the current, you have to pay Jamar Chase too. And if you pay
And
Jamar
Jamar
Chase and
Chase-
T. Higgins, good luck keeping any defensive player around.
And Jamar Chase is going to be wanting upwards of 30.
well, yeah, good luck keeping anyone around with that. Okay. I mean, I'm barely even.
It's just
Nah,
Did you tighten it?
You probably didn't tighten it at all.
That's
fine.
yeah, it's all
Lean it
good.
down. But anyways, though, as I have said previously, before we started this, actually, if you're going to pay Burrow and Chase record-breaking deals, you can't get anyone else anyways. Somebody has to be man enough to take a little bit of a pay cut to win football games. You can't win football games with two players. I mean, yeah, these are two great players, but you got to have a good team around them.
I mean, yeah,
Like-
none of us are in the position of any of these players though.
I guarantee you, if I was, I would not like. If I was in their shoes and I wanted to be there, I would take a little bit.
I mean-
I guarantee you, I would.
I'm not going to sit here and question the morality of NFL players for getting what they deserve.
I'm not necessarily doing that either, but I'm just saying at some point or another, like, everybody can't get paid. Do you want to win football games or do you want to get your money? Like, I mean, you can't pay You can aggressively pay two players. Yes, we can do that to keep them around. But are we going to win a Super Bowl with these two players? No. We have to have a good team around them. That's just how the game of football is. You cannot win a Super Bowl with two good players. And currently, our entire Super Bowl and AFC North team, like half that team's gone now. Like it's just not the same team anymore.
Yeah,
I mean, T. Higgins is gone. Not officially, but he's going to be gone. T. Higgins is going to be gone. Joe Mixon is gone. We got a 7th round pick for him. Whatever. That was kind of a low ball. But whatever.
We're just going to cut him and lose it for nothing, so I'll take 7.
Like a 5th or a 6th or something. I mean, come on, he's worth more than 7th. I mean, come on now.
Well, we didn't have much leverage.
Yeah, you had zero leverage in that situation.
Is he not worth more than a 7th round pick?
He probably,
He probably is, but you're not going to get
Right.
After we
anything
said
more
we
than
were
this
straight
from
up
him.
going to cut him, we lost all leverage.
Well, that's another reason why this franchise is incompetent. But, so, yeah, that was bad. Entire secondary from that Super Bowl run is gone. I mean, the secondary, they'll get better, I think. I mean, they were young last year, so they'll be better. But, I don't know. I mean, the Joe Mixon thing, it's one of those things where it's like, I think he's a little bit past his prime. He's worth more than a 7th round pick, but I think he's a little bit past his prime. So I don't really hate that we're moving on from him. I mean, Zach Moss is a solid option. I've seen a lot.
Zach Moss is really good.
I've seen a lot that he's a good pass blocker. He's been more efficient than Joe Mixon was last year. So, like, I'm not, like, overly upset with that. But the T. Higgins situation is just a disaster. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I just and with how good the rest of the AFC is and is continuing to get better, and the Bengals are just kind of sitting on their butts, letting their best players walk. It's like I don't know this team. And the other thing that you factor in is Joe Burrow. He's only played 2 whole years in his time in the NFL. Now, both of those years, it's been a Super Bowl and an AFC Championship. But there's only 2 years. He's been in the NFL for 4 years, and he's only played 2 whole years of them. That's concerning due to injuries. And he also just tore a ligament in his throwing wrist. We don't know how he's going to come back from that. I mean, honestly speaking, you don't know how he's going to come back from that. A torn ligament you're throwing on him?
It's like the ACL of the hand, too.
Yeah,
it's like the most crucial one. It's not
yeah,
like
you don't know how you're going to come back from that. So, I mean, they've got a left-handed Burrow and a left-handed and a one-legged Burrow that they're playing with Jamar Chase. That's what they got. Because Tyler Boyd is probably gone too. Tyler Boyd's a free agent.
We'll see.
Tyler Boyd is a free agent. He's on the market. No one's signed him yet.
He could come back.
He could come back.
He could come back.
Especially if they don't keep
There's a
Higgins
low
off
chance,
him.
but he could come back.
I would love to see Tyler Boyd come back. I mean, if you get Tyler Boyd back, I think that'd be great. That would be awesome if Tyler Boyd came back. But either way, this is just I don't even know what to expect from this team anymore. I have no idea what to expect from this team. Like a healthy Burrow, yeah, this is a playoff contending team. Number one, who knows if he's going to be healthy? Number two, they don't have any that loaded receiver room that they once had. It's just gone. It's gone. The running back room's gone. The offensive line is still an issue that they're not addressing. I mean, defense was awful last year, statistically wise. They don't have a defensive tackle on the team, right? BJ Hill. Other than BJ, they have one defensive tackle on the team. I just have no clue. I have no idea what they. I don't know. And you're also in a division with a Super Bowl contending Ravens. I can't stand them. A really, really good Browns team and a good Steelers team. Well, not a good team. A solid Steelers team with a really good defense.
A competitive Steelers team.
A competitive Steelers team that has a good defense. A very good Browns and a Super Bowl contending Ravens. I mean, that is the division. That's just the division that you're competing with. So this division, Super Bowl contending Ravens, really, really good Browns team.
Solid Steelers.
Solid Steelers team with a good defense. A Bengals team with Burrow and Chase and nothing else. That is the division we're looking at. And then you look outside of that division. The Texans are going to be really freaking good this
We'll
year.
get to them in a bit. The Texans they scare me.
They should. They should. The Texans are going to be insane this year. The Colts, I think, are going to be good this year. The Titans they're a couple years away.
The Jags
are still there.
Solid.
The Jags are still a solid team. I'm not going to be as high as I was last year. But the Jags are still a good team with a franchise quarterback. That's something. Let's go to the other division. The Bills are the Bills. Even if they digress, they still have Josh Allen. They're still going to probably make the playoffs. It's still the Bills team. You've got the Dolphins, who are a playoff contending
The Dolphins
team.
have no reason to miss playoffs.
Yeah, they're a playoff contending team. The Dolphins are a very good football team. They haven't really been able to beat good teams yet. They beat the Cowboys last year. It was a good win. But the Dolphins are a good team.
At the time.
Yeah, the Dolphins are a good team. The Patriots are dog crap, and
The Jets.
The
could
Jets-
Be good. We don't know.
the Jets, if Aaron Rodgers returns healthy, are probably going to end up being close to what we thought they were going to be last year.
I don't know. Their offensive line's still kind of a mess.
The Jets are going to be a solid. As long as Aaron Rodgers is healthy, they'll be solid.
We'll see. Yeah.
They'll be solid.
They're still a playoff team.
If Aaron Rodgers, yeah, so it's another playoff team though. Now let's go to the West.
Chiefs, best team in football.
You have the best team in the NFL and the Chiefs, the best football player on the planet. You've got a Jim Harbaugh run Chargers, who Jim Harbaugh has literally won everywhere he's went. Literally. So the Chargers are going to win football games. And they also have a franchise quarterback, despite all their other issues. They have Justin Herbert.
Yeah,
He's a dang good quarterback.
They've got more than most franchises can say.
And Jim Harbaugh is going to win football games there. It's going to happen. They're going to win games. The Broncos are an embarrassment to the game, and the Raiders aren't much better. So, but like, I just went through the entire conference in the AFC, and every team I said, except for 3 or 4, is legit playoff contending, if not Super Bowl contending teams.
Yeah, the AFC.
As the Bengals have sat on the couch with their thumbs up their butts, letting their best players walk. I mean, like, where do you see? I mean, let's keep in mind that the Ravens just brought in a couple years ago the best running back in football, multiple-time 1,000-yard rusher, King Henry.
They lost their queen though. They did lose Patrick Queen.
Yeah, guess what though? He's staying in the division.
Patrick Queen.
That doesn't matter at all. He just left to a different divisional team. Like,
He went from one great defense to another great defense.
yeah, it doesn't. It still is going to screw us royally. Like, I mean, dude, the Geno Stone was a good signing. That was a good signing. He'll step in and he'll have a good role. He's a solid player. He's a young player. I like that signing. I like the Zach Moss signing. I don't like what we're losing, and I don't like the lack of like activity. You know, like I know there's not like a lot that there's not. We can't go out there and sign everybody. I get that. But, like, you have teams... Like, the Steelers didn't need Patrick Queen, as far as I know. That's not a pressing matter for them, right?
Middle linebacker?
I mean, they had...
They could have... Patrick Queen's definitely an upgrade.
Holcomb.
Yeah, that's definitely an upgrade.
But it's not like they were in just dire need. It's like, dude, we don't have a line... We don't have a defensive tackle. We have one tackle. Like, do you get what I'm saying? Like, the Steelers were not going to perish as a team without him, but yet they still went out and got him to make them even better. The Ravens, they were going to be just fine without Derrick Henry. They didn't need Derrick Henry. Like, I realized that Gus Edwards left to the Chargers, but, like, dude, like, you can plug in almost any running back in that offense that is average, and they're going to be fine. That is a dang good offensive line, and a great offensive coordinator, and a quarterback that runs the ball, too. Like, they didn't need Derrick Henry, but they got him, and it's even better. You know what I'm saying? Like, I realize that, like, we don't, like, there's not a lot of, other than, like, defensive tackle, offensive tackle, like, we aren't, like, just dying of anything. But there are guys that could help us that we are just not doing anything about. Like, Patrick Queen, I would have loved to get Patrick Queen. Like, guys, like there are guys that we could upgrade. Like, it's not a dire need, but it could be an upgrade and make us better. Like, I feel the AFC is just sitting here stacking themselves, and the Bengals are just doing nothing. But letting their players go. Like, Joe Mixon for a 7th. Like, that's stupid. I mean, whatever, though. But T. Higgins, like, that's a huge blow. That's a huge blow. I mean, the receiving core is Jamar Chase, top 3 receiver in the NFL, and then Charlie Jones and Andre Yosibosh. I mean, like...
Before the draft. We'll see what they do in the draft. But
that's not, like, I mean... And I realize you say if Joe Burrow really is the guy that...
Yeah, I did say if Joe Burrow really is the savior that you all say he is, he should be able to get it done.
And I realize that. I realize that. But, like...
He still has Jamar
It
Chase.
comes to a point, though, where it's like, this is a team game, and you gotta have talent around you to win games. Like, I mean, you can't just walk out there with a bunch of scrubs and win unless you're Patrick Mahomes. Like, you gotta have something around you, you know? Like, I mean, I know they have Jamar Chase, but it's like, I just, with how stacked the rest of the AFC is, the Bengals are just an inferior team right now. I mean, we don't even have to go outside the division. Like, I think the Bengals are the worst team in the division right now.
I don't think that's true.
The Steelers are the worst team.
It's close.
It's a really good division. Like, Steelers are not a bad
But like it'll be how it was last year, where potentially all 4 teams can make it to the playoffs, but the Steelers are still the worst team.
Like, I don't think it's, like, by far and away, though. Like, the Steelers swept us last year.
No, yeah, but
Like, I mean,
Yeah.
the Steelers suck, but, I mean,
I'm not.
it's not like we've been doing anything. I mean, as it looks to me right now, the Bengals are, at best, 3rd in the division.
You wanna hear my hot take? I think this is actually beneficial for the Bengals in the long term. I'm
interested to hear your thoughts as a non-Bengals.
Yeah, I think that this. I mean, I've been saying this. You all were after not the Super Bowl one, because you all were like, okay, we still got years. I told you all after the AFC title game against Kansas City where you all lost, I was like, you've only got like a year or two left with this core, and then everyone's going to be gone. Whether you
I
like
think
it or
we
not.
all knew that.
Yeah.
I think we all knew that.
Like I think that it's actually beneficial for Cincinnati long term. Joe Mixon was taking up way too much money. He's a good running back, but you can't be giving him the money.
I know. I don't hate that
When
one,
you
but
still
it's just
have an
like,
extended Jamar Chase. If T. Higgins is demanding top 10 receiver in the league money, you can't pay him that. Whether you think he's a top 10 receiver or not, because you have a bona fide top 5 receiver in Jamar Chase that you still have to pay, and when he gets his contract, he's going to reset the wide receiver market. He's going to get upwards of $30 million a year.
He'll probably get more than Jefferson.
Yeah, he will. Well, it depends on what order that they do the contracts, but
like what? I mean, what are we doing then? We're gonna pay Burrow, Chase. And what are
I
we gonna do?
think that before this offseason, the Bengals had a really good offense and question marks on defense. I think signing Geno Stone, and if their secondary improves with time, and if they keep Trey Hendrickson, Sam Hubbard, etc., get a defensive tackle now if DJ Reader doesn't come back, I think they actually balance themselves out. I think their defense, their holes get solved, and their offense, while not as absurdly potent as it was in 2021 and 2022, is still going to be good. And I think the Bengals this offseason have set themselves up for like 9-10 more years, assuming Joe Burrow stays healthy and they actually keep
That's
him
a
upright.
huge
That's
assuming.
still their biggest question mark to me.
Yeah.
But assuming they fix the offensive line, I think they set themselves up for 9-10 more years of being up there in terms of a contending team in the AFC, and hopefully they break through once or twice.
Which I didn't even get to that point though. The offensive line is still a big issue that they are addressing.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure why they just.
They won't do it.
Yeah,
They
better do it in the
they
draft.
won't do it.
Yeah. Well, they're at the point where they have, you got Orlando Brown. They rehauled that offensive line completely, and they have all of them have multi-year deals, and the only one that really you can fix right now is Jonah Williams, which I believe they're going to get in the draft. And so I think, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think you can pay T. Higgins I don't think he's worth $24.5 million a year. I don't think he's he's good, and we've talked about this numerous times. I think he'd be a wide receiver one on
Most teams.
yeah, I don't know about most, but there's
Yes, he would.
there's a
Handful
solid
of teams.
third of the NFL that he'd be a wide receiver one on. But if he's not elite wide receiver one level as of right now. You can't pay him $25 million a year with the situation the Bengals are in, because you're not giving up Jamar Chase, and if you pay T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, your defense is going to be Swiss cheese unless you hit on the draft constantly. And the Bengals they're not very good at doing that, especially on the defensive side of the football, and offensive line. So I think it's actually beneficial. I think Zach Moss is really good. I watched him play last year. I think he's really good. Over 1,000-yard rusher. Was very, very competent when Jonathan Taylor wasn't playing. It's kind of a similar situation though, because the Colts offensive line was improved last year from 2022. They weren't elite or anything, but they were still pretty good. The Bengals O-line's definitely a downgrade, so we'll see if he actually keeps up that same production. But he's a great pass blocking running back. He's good in between the tackles. He can not as explosive as Jonathan Taylor, but he can take a crease 30 plus yards. He can score touchdowns on any given point. I think Zach Moss is really good. I think the Geno Stone one's been one of the best signings of free agency. I think Geno Stone is really underrated, and he's 24. He's a top 5 safety in the NFL, but didn't get recognition because Kyle Hamilton is a freak at safety. I think that was really good. 2 years, $15 million, that should shore up a lot of issues in the secondary. I think the Bengals set themselves up for long-term success. I just don't know if they're gonna win a Super Bowl in the next 2 years or something. That's my views on it as a non-Colts fan. I do think that them not addressing the offensive line is slightly concerning, but if they address it,
I
with
would
the
say
draft,
massive.
But
then-
with the amount of money that teams were dishing these offensive linemen, we couldn't compete
Yeah.
with that. We couldn't give Robert Hunt 5 years, $100 million. We couldn't do that. So
you're gonna give them the T. Higgins money, and it's
yeah. So I think with the offensive line, you just have to hope and pray that they continue to progress as a unit. They're leaps and bounds better than where we started.
yeah, they're way
but
better than they were.
But they're
in
not.
2021.
They're not where you want them to be. But I think Orlando Brown is good, and then I think Karras and Kappa are solid, it's that right side that needs to get fixed with Volson and Jordan Williams, who's no longer there. Which I believe they'll get that in the draft because this is one of the deepest tackle classes in recent memory, and so you address that in the draft. Hopefully, you finally hit on a first round lineman, and I mean you have that kind of helps out. But I mean my thought process on all of this is, I mean, we all saw this coming. Like, as Bengals fans, we had a 3-year window. We had 2021 to about like
This past year
Yeah.
with the injuries.
which, I mean, and then like I said before the season, like the reason why I was like the Bengals could win the Super Bowl this year is because this is their one last ride with that Super Bowl core. And unfortunately, things didn't go our way. Joe Burrow was hurt for basically the entire season. Jamar Chase got banged up. Stuff that was out of our control happened. And so you have to do your best to kind of rebound from that. And obviously, whenever you franchise tag somebody, you're going to piss them off, no matter who it is. And the talks that we haven't offered T. Higgins a contract since March of last year, I don't buy that. I don't buy that we didn't talk to him at all. But what I think is, because knowing his agent, which we've talked about, I think he wants to be paid upwards of $24-25 million a year. And if I'm being honest, go.
Yeah, after this past year, he's not worth that.
Yeah, like love
His
T.
agent thinks he is.
Like, I love T. Higgins. I think he's a great complement to what we have, and he had some great games last year, and he had some really bad games last year. But my thing is, do you want to have all of your money centralized in 3 positions, or do you want to let one of those guys go and then slightly downgrade and then upgrade the rest of the team around you? Like, you could use that. Like, if we traded T. Higgins today, if we traded him for a 2nd round pick and whatever, we save $22 million off of that. That's huge.
For the long-term future of that team, that's massive.
Yeah, like, that's huge. And I think, yes, Burrow's contract is big right now, but we're going to look at this contract 3-4 years down the road, and it's going to be fairly cheap with the way that the salary cap's going up and the way that his deferred money already is. He's only taking up 10-15% of our entire cap space as of right now and in the future. So I think, and I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Josh Allen do it, we saw Patrick Mahomes do it, if at some point Joe Burrow does restructure that contract, because that's just what quarterbacks are doing now. We're past the days where the only quarterback to restructure their deal is Tom Brady. Like, every quarterback's restructuring their deal, it seems like. And so I wouldn't be surprised if Joe Burrow falls in line with that. But speaking of their free agency signings, love Geno Stone. 2 years, $15 million, I think is a great contract. He's 24 years old, like Nick said, top 5 safety in the league last year. He had 7 interceptions last year. And you take him from a division rival, and I think he can help out that secondary. You have him. He's 10 times better than Nick Scott is.
Yeah,
Nick Scott was a whiff.
Yeah, that was a whiff. That was a whiff.
But I think this is a key year for Dax Hill, because if Dax Hill isn't what we thought he was, then that kind of changes the direction of that secondary. But you hit on Cam Taylor-Britt, you hit on DJ Turner, and Geno Stone should be good. And I mean,
They hit on Jordan Battle.
Yeah. So from Mike McDonald to, Lou Anarumo, basically the same coordinator rise. I think the big wild card is Dax Hill, because we'll see, does he play nickel? Is he going to slot? Is he going to be a true safety? He's very versatile, which is good, but he hasn't hit that potential that we thought he
I don't think they found a good spot to use him in yet.
Yeah,
but I think with Geno Stone, it adds more flexibility to his
does.
position.
It does.
So I love the Geno Stone signing. That's a really great sign. I like what we've done so far. It's just hitting me a little hard that they're losing T. Higgins.
Yeah. They haven't
Well,
even lost T. Higgins
yeah.
yet.
Well,
Like,
that's
if
the
you
thing.
remember in July when Jonathan Taylor was having his saga with Indianapolis, you all were like, there's no chance he plays for the Colts this year. And then he ended up having like
He signed like
an
a 2-year
800
deal.
yards or
Didn't
something.
he sign like a 2-year deal?
Yeah, he signed a 3-year extension during the season.
Yeah.
And the Bengals, Jesse Bates was on the franchise tag. He ended up playing. Jonah Williams requested a trade. He ended up playing. Like, T. Higgins very well could
I
play
think
his contract, and it might be beneficial.
Yeah,
for
I
him
think
to
it's
play out
actually
this
smart
franchise
for
tag.
him to play this year on the franchise tag,
Yeah.
because he had by far his worst year in the league this past year.
Yeah, it's not going to help. That won't help him that much. But
So he can bump his stock up even more to get more money,
Yeah, he can
which
get like
means
27, 28
we can
that we'll get.
trade him for more.
and we can run it back one more time with that.
Yeah, which I would
Some
feel
of that.
more comfortable with. Losing T Higgins sucks. Don't get me wrong, but I think, like Nick said, I think it's a move that you just
It's a move that has to be made.
you have to make for the betterment of your team in the future. And yes, does it hurt us right now? Yes, but I think it could help in the future. And that's the same thing with Joe Mixon. Love Joe Mixon, Bengals legend,
That happened.
but you had to get rid of him. He was taking up, I'm pretty sure his projected cap hit was more or the same as guys of Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, like those type of guys, and he's nowhere close to those guys as a running back. So you get rid of him, get Zach Moss, who's 2 years younger, who's more explosive. He's a better pass protector, which we like. And like Nick is known firsthand.
I can attest.
Like,
He's really good.
He's really good. And I mean, Joe Mixon, yes, he had 1,000 yards. He's been good, but he hasn't been the same since he was in 2021. He's not that same impact. He hasn't had the same impact as he has since 2020, 2021. So I don't mind that. Yes, we got a 7th round pick. Better than losing him for nothing. I think another thing that we can talk about is the Bengals got a 3rd round compository pick for Jesse Bates. That's huge. So now we have 10 picks in this upcoming draft.
Well, here's an idea.
And we can draft a tackle. We can draft a wide receiver. We
Here's
can draft a defensive tackle. We can draft a tight end. There's so many things that we can do here, and it's worrying, yes, but I think we're not
Have faith in the
screwed.
organization.
Yeah, I don't think we're completely screwed and the world's ending. It's just gonna take some time getting used to a different thing. But I've always said this: if we have Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, I'll take that. With just Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow, we're a playoff contender. Then we can rebuild around that if we have to.
Well, we'll see because we're gonna have to.
But one thing, here you go, Joe.
I was just gonna say I like the Mike Gesicki signing.
Mike Gesicki,
That's a good signing. I think he's the best tight end. I don't know. You said that. Someone said that. He's the best tight end that Burrow's played with probably in the NFL.
Yeah.
I would probably
Not a
agree with
high
that.
bar to clear, but
Hayden Hurst is pretty good.
Hayden Hurst is alright, but
Yeah, so Mike Gesicki was a solid signing. My other thing is, I think it would be nice to see them kind of get a solidified tight end option instead of this whole 1 year streaming thing they've been doing.
I think they'll draft one.
I think they will too.
There's some decent guys.
Yeah. Anyway, that's what I was gonna say about that. However, if they trade Higgins before the draft and they get, like you said, a high 2nd round pick, then they have 11 picks in the draft. 1st round, I think that you go offensive tackle.
Heck, if I had 2 2nd-round picks, you could even package those. I mean,
you could trade up and get a late 1st round and get another receiver.
Well, let me finish what I was saying. So my thought was so they trade Higgins, they get pick 34, just for the sake of the discussion.
Yeah.
So 18 comes up. Brock Bowers is on the board. Take Brock Bowers. I don't think he's gonna be. I don't think he's gonna be there. There's a possibility that he's there. There's a small possibility. It's a possibility that Brock Bowers is there. If Brock Bowers is there at 18, I'm taking Brock Bowers at 18. And then early with that early 2nd, or if you want to package him up and bump back into the 1st round, then you take your tackle. That's what I'm thinking. If Brock Bowers is not there, I'm taking an offensive tackle, and it's not even a question. I don't care. If Brock Bowers is not there, take an offensive tackle.
Yeah.
I do not care.
There's technically a possibility of Brock Bowers sliding to 18, just like there's technically a possibility of Yellowstone erupting right now.
I don't care.
There's absolutely zero
one
chance
thing
Brock Bowers
I
will
wonder-
go 18.
I wanna get
That's just wrong. That's
I want
just
to get
wrong.
your opinion on this. So I was listening to Cincinnati Bengals talk. He was talking about what it kind of just isn't a trash to the Higgins. This might be a wild card, and I doubt this happens, but it was an intriguing thing. You very well, he said, you call up all the teams in the top 10, say, hey, what are you willing to give for T. Higgins? And I'll give you T. Higgins, pick 18. You give me pick 6 or 7. We draft Joe Alt. That's our franchise tackle right there. And
You
then,
take that.
and
Yeah,
I would be okay with that.
I would
You
do
trade
that.
up with 6 or 7 to the Giants or the Titans. I'm sure they would love to have T. Higgins.
I would do that.
You still have a 1st round pick. Then you have the joys of paying him upwards of $80 million or whatever it is.
I would
and
do that.
And then we get our franchise offensive tackle, Joe Alt, who I think is a generational tackle.
I would absolutely do that.
Now, is that realistic? Maybe.
Probably
Because
not.
when's the last time the Bengals traded up in the first round?
Couldn't tell you.
Not very long.
But dude, I would do that. I mean, I wouldn't even that. I would do that like that. That is like a snap. I would
But
do
I think
that.
like
every
that
day.
would like that could be a possibility. Like
You
if I'm
throw,
a team,
well, hey, look, you throw 18 in, you throw T Higgins in, you get your franchise left tackle early first, then you're picking again mid second, then you can get. I mean,
Yeah.
Is A.D. Mitchell going to be there?
not mid second, but I mean mid second you could probably get
Defensive tackle then. Something.
potentially, yeah.
Some. There's going to be a good player at receiver or tackle there.
I mean mid second you could probably get like a Xavier Legette from South Carolina who's pretty good.
You can get a damn good player in the second round.
I think that's a stretch that could happen.
I would.
But I think they should make if they
absolutely.
haven't. I think I would make that call.
I would absolutely.
like,
do
yo,
that.
New York, you guys haven't had a good receiver
Yeah,
ever.
I would say the Giants.
Ever.
I would say the Giants are more likely. I think the Giants have way more holes than the Titans do.
Yeah,
I would.
So-
I would do that
I
for
mean,
sure.
it's well. That'll be a thing. Do you think Roma Dunze? Like, then the other thing is, would I rather have Roma Dunze, who's cheaper, or have T. Higgins, who's proven, who I have to pay?
Wait. Oh,
Like if I'm the
Giants
Giants, like would I rather have Roma Dunze on his rookie deal or T. Higgins?
Well, hold on here. What? So if the Bengals theoretically, if the Bengals make a trade like that, I mean, you get into the top 10. Like, do you take Bowers?
I mean,
That's
you have
the
your pick
question.
of you have your pick. If you trade up to 6 or 7, you have your pick of Joe Alt or Brock Bowers, and I wouldn't care if they drafted either of them. I would be okay with both of them.
I think that if you take well, I mean, if they take Bowers there, they're in the same situation they'd be if they took Bowers at 18. They just got to take a tackle in the second round. So
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean, if you take Joe Alt, that's your left.
That's your
That's your right tackle for the next 8
10
years.
years,
10
yeah.
years. Like
but can you pass up on Bowers?
That's the decision they're going to
Yeah.
have to make.
I know.
That's just what they think's a bigger need.
I think
Which
both
I
players are
think
generational.
I think with them signing Gesicki, they would be like, our biggest need right now is right tackle.
Big like.
And I mean,
Well, okay, but like
did you watch
the big,
Joe Alt in the combine? He's an absolute freak.
like the
6'9".
biggest.
6'9", 322, and is like ridiculously athletic.
He's like the big guy in Game of Thrones, Hodor. It's like Hodor, but in NFL terms.
Yeah,
He's mad, but he's huge.
Yeah, he was the highest graded lineman last year, and has only allowed 1 sack and only 11 quarterback pressure since 2022.
Yeah, so I mean, you probably take Joe Alt, but
As much as
it's hard. Like,
it is
Brock
hard to
Bowers
block.
is
It is
really
hard to
freaking
pass over
good,
Brock
man.
Bowers.
We should probably move on. It's been 33 minutes.
Are you
of
surprised?
just Bengals. No, I'm not, but I'm just
I
saying
mean,
we
this
should,
isn't like
we should
structured.
probably like.
What else?
move
What
on.
else you want to talk about? What else we got in here?
Got a lot more teams to go
In
through.
Browns.
Are we
trade
going
for
through
Jerry
every single
Jeudy.
team?
I'm just going through the
There
teams
are
that
more
made
teams,
big
yeah.
things.
I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick. We're on live, aren't we?
We can.
I aggressively have to pee though. Give me like 2 seconds.
Oakland beat Milwaukee.
Oh, they did.
They did.
Good, good, good.
They're going to the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2011.
Shout out Oakland. All right.
Shout out
Let's just keep talking.
the Golden Grizzlies.
Packers. The Packers signed Josh Jacobs for 4 years, 48 mil. That was big.
That's
Then they
huge.
released Aaron Jones, who eventually signed with
The Vikings.
the Vikings. And then they signed Xavier McKinney for 4 years, 68, which me and Joel called, by the way. Shout out to us. And then they re-signed Keyshawn Nixon. What'd you think of them? Because Josh Jacobs to the Packers kind of came out of left field.
Yeah, I didn't
I didn't
expect
expect
that
that
at
at
all.
all. What did you think of
Yeah,
that?
the Packers rebuild lasted 2 months.
Yeah.
They are now one of the premier teams in the NFC again, assuming Jordan Love continues to.
Which he
develop.
should.
Yeah, Josh Jacobs to the Packers was way out of left field.
Yeah.
I thought the Raiders would move on from Josh Jacobs. I didn't
I
expect
thought he
them
was
to move
going
on
to go
from.
back to the Raiders
I
for at least like a year.
yeah, I don't know, but yeah, I think Josh Jacobs of the Packers is massive. Kind of had a down year, but still one of the best running backs in football. If Jordan Love continues to
Plus, that
develop,
offensive line is probably better than the Raiders.
it should be. They got rid of David Bakhtiari. Yeah.
And they lost Sean Runyon as well, so it could take
Yeah, it'll probably take a slight step back, although Bakhtiari didn't play like as
he's
the past
awesome.
years. I think Xavier McKinney is really good. I think he's underrated. I think that was huge for
I
them.
love that.
I don't know if he's going to be like the standout wide receiver one, but I mean, it's kind of like a receiver room by committee at this point. Xavier McKinney could easily become that wide receiver one
He's
based on his
safety.
production. Oh, he's a safety?
Yeah.
Who am I thinking of?
Xavier McKinney he's the Giants safety.
Alright, scratch everything else I said. Really good safety for them. They need some help in the secondary
Yeah.
for
Well,
sure.
because they lost Jonathan Owens and Darnell Savage, so they didn't have a safety on the roster.
Yeah, they needed a guy like Xavier McKinney.
I think I peed on my pants a little bit.
What?
But yeah, I think them getting Josh Jacobs is huge because he's younger than Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones is probably more efficient,
That was a good signing.
but yeah, I really like the signing. I didn't expect that at all. I mean, 4 years, 48 is a solid deal. And Xavier McKinney, I said in our Packers offseason breakdown video that was the guy who I wanted them to target in free agency, and they went out and got him. So, and then we signed Keyshawn Nixon, who's an all pro return man. He's also a pretty solid DB as well.
The other thing that I think you have to think about with Josh Jacobs is the fact that Aaron Jones was injured all the
Yeah,
time.
he was injury prone.
So Josh Jacobs is a younger option. He's a healthier option.
He's a better option. He's just a better running back than Aaron
Yeah,
Jones.
he's just
Yeah, he is. He's just a better running back. I like Aaron Jones. I think he's a solid player.
He should do well
better
in
running back.
Minnesota.
Yeah, that'll be good. That'll be good for him.
He's better than Alexander Madison.
Yeah, I think that'll be good fit for him. I mean,
Your guy Ty Chandler's gonna take a step back.
that guy is insane. I mean, I don't know. I can't believe he's not used more.
He might be used more now. They could. I mean, you could
He's
run a 1-2
so
punch.
good.
They'll probably still.
Ty Chandler.
Ty Chandler is insane.
Madden legend Ty Chandler.
He is aggressive, and he's always a free agent to sign for like $1 million. Every franchise you do, you can sign him for $1 million.
He has his opinion on Ty Chandler based off Madden.
He's fast.
He had a really good game against the Bengals when you played
I mean,
him.
Ty Chandler's.
Chandler's
Yeah.
a solid back. I mean, he's not Josh Jacobs or probably I don't even know if he's
not
Aaron
even Aaron
Jones.
Jones.
But he's a solid back. He deserves a slight bit more playing time.
Yeah. But do you guys think that with Josh Jacobs, like, obviously, like the Lions won the division. Like, are the Packers like for sure winning the division, or is it?
No.
The Packers are not for sure winning the division.
No, absolutely not.
It's very clearly like the Lions and the Packers are going to be the two teams
Yeah.
battling it out.
I don't think anybody's guaranteed that division. I think I think it is the Lions and the Packers, but
I don't think the Vikings are there.
I said Lions and Packers.
Oh, I thought
Either
you
one.
were talking about all four teams.
No, either one of those two teams can win it though.
Yeah.
Either one of those two teams can win that division.
Mhm.
I think that the Packers are really good. Jordan Love is a really good quarterback. I think the Packers. I think they got their third guy here. I mean, Jordan Love.
They keep doing it.
They should have beat the Niners.
Yeah.
They were one stupid throw away from beating the Niners. Honestly, dude.
Yeah. Then who
Like-
knows? They could have been in the Super Bowl.
I mean, yeah.
Right.
Jordan Love does not make a stupid decision there. I mean, they very well could win
the spirit of Brett Favre channeled into Jordan Love on that throw.
Yeah.
It was a shame because he played well for
Yeah.
majority of the game.
I mean, it was one like I mean, when I saw that, I was like, wow, that was a heck of a throw. But then it got picked, and I was like, oh, that was a stupid.
No, as soon as we were watching it, as soon as he let that go, I'm like, this is gonna be a pick. I'm like, what is he even doing here? That was bad.
That was a
That was the
call.
first like what the hell throw that I saw from Jordan Love, and it came at the worst possible time.
Yeah.
But as long as that doesn't become like a habit, they should be fine.
Well, hey, he's a talented player. He's got a heck of an arm.
He does.
I mean, that was really. I mean, how many quarterbacks do you see that
He
are
can
able-
attempt that throw.
Exactly.
Yeah, not a lot.
Exactly. It wasn't a smart decision, but the fact that he was able to throw that pass is still something.
Yeah.
He's a talented quarterback. I've liked him for a while. I honestly like where the Packers are at. I think
Great.
I think Josh Jacobs is a huge upgrade for him in the backfield too. I think this Packers team is going to be good. I mean, they got Christian Watson's a good receiver. Actually, he's a really good receiver. Romeo Dobbs
He
had a
has to
good
stay
year.
healthy.
Huh?
Christian Watson just has to stay healthy.
Yeah, I'm not really too worried about his health. I mean, what he
He barely played.
Yeah, he only played like 4 games last season. In total.
He didn't play a whole lot last year.
the games he played, he was really good.
Yeah.
Jaden Reed, I think, is really good.
They got a good receiving core, man. I mean, Romeo
could-
Dobbs
they
had a
could
great
maybe-
year.
It could get better.
It could get better.
It's like a receiving core
just
by
solid.
committee right
Yeah,
now.
it's
But
a
that whole
good,
committee's
not
good.
great receiving.
Like they don't have any like just superstar players, but the whole core is solid players.
Yes.
I like Romeo Dobbs and I like Jaden Reed.
Yeah.
I like Christian Watson. Christian Watson, I think if he's healthy, I guess like you were saying, I think he's gonna be better. But
Yeah, no,
I think
agree.
he's like
He's
Jordan
just-
Love. I think he's a talented receiver.
I agree.
Tight end is a little weak, I think.
They got Luke Musgrave.
Yeah,
Oh, that's right. They did get rid. Yeah, that's actually a good one.
Their biggest concerns are on defense, which
They solved one with Xavier McKinney. I
Yeah,
did not know
definitely
he was a
solved.
safety until.
you're saying
I thought he was a
Xavier
receiver.
McKinney?
Yeah, I don't know who else.
he was like he adds to their stack receiver room. I was like, he's a
Were you
safety.
thinking of Xavier Worthy?
Probably. I
Probably
don't.
Xavier.
Yeah, Xavier Worthy's not even an
But then like
NFL.
they're projected to draft like another corner in the draft, and you still have
How's?
I think Jair's still there.
Yeah, I was gonna say Jair's
Yeah,
still
but-
there, isn't he?
I don't know how long he's gonna be there,
Yeah.
but he's still technically still there.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So and then you have
I think they're.
Um,
I mean, defense.
Rashawn Gary.
Yeah.
I think they were just released Devontae Campbell. Kenny Clark's still there. They have good pieces, but I mean you can put them all together. I mean Jordan Love is completely like
Change the trajectory.
yeah,
of
like
that
he's
team.
what's the word? Quicken the rebuild drastically.
Oh.
And so now they just have to build that around them and Josh Jacobs.
I mean, offensively, they're looking pretty good around him. I mean, defensively, I'm not really too certain what they got defensively.
Their defense is like middle of the
Serviceable.
little below middle of the pack.
Their defense is serviceable, but I mean, I think the Packers could very easily win that division. I mean, the Lions. The Lions are going to be good again next year. I don't know if they're going to be quite that good. Like, I don't know if it's like. I don't know. You know.
The Packers got Jeff Hafley as defensive coordinator. They got rid of Joe Barry because Joe Barry's terrible
Oh, I was on the Lions.
as a defensive coordinator, huh?
I was on the Lions.
Oh, I thought. Okay. Yeah.
I was saying I don't know if the Lions are going to be quite at the level that they were
We'll
this
see.
year, just because I don't know. Because it's like.
They haven't. They haven't
They're
worked.
probably-
Well, I mean,
They might not make the NFC Championship, but they
Yeah.
should still be. I mean, their best players were rookies.
Yeah,
They should-
they're gonna be a contender. I just don't know if they're gonna have quite as good. I mean, they were dominant.
I
They went
wouldn't-
12-5 or 12-4, whatever. It is.
I wouldn't peg them to be in the NFC Championship again, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, and it's like it's like what you said, like when the Bengals lost the Super Bowl, you were like, oh, like we're definitely gonna be back here. Like I
don't feel the same way.
no, and the reason is because they have Jared Goff at quarterback and not like a Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing against Jared Goff.
I mean,
he's a
good
solid.
quarterback.
Jared Goff's a solid quarterback.
Jared Goff's pretty good.
But I don't know if I see him being able to compete consistently at that high of a level every year.
I think that the Lions are kind of set up for the next 6
Oh, yeah.
7 years.
Oh yeah.
They're gonna be a good team,
but-
but are they gonna be an NFC Championship Super Bowl
But like
contender every year?
We'll see. The
Yeah.
NFC's kind of weak.
It is.
They could very easily make the NFC Championship the next couple years. Look at their team.
Yeah,
They
but
have
you
an elite offensive line, a pretty good receiving
And
core, an
defense
elite running back
That
duo,
defense needs to get
and
better.
that defense that
needs to get
well,
better.
But
yeah.
you're still competing with the Packers team that very well could have been in the NFC Championship this season.
Yeah.
You're competing with the
Niners,
49ers team.
Eagles.
You're competing with an Eagles team. You're competing with the Cowboys team. The NFC's not
The
god awful.
NFC's a lot better than it
The
was last year.
NFC's
The
tough.
get me by a second. But the NFC's not as bad as like what you made it sound just now. Like the Lions are not guaranteed NFC
But
champs
they don't
every
have
year.
16 playoff teams.
No,
Yeah.
like,
no, the entire conference is not competing for the playoffs, but the Lions are not guaranteed a
Yeah,
spot.
the entire conference is not competing for like a divisional round berth
Yeah,
on later, like
No.
the AFC very well could be.
no, but the Lions are still not guaranteed a spot.
no, they're not.
Like they're a good team, and they're going to be set up to be a good team for a while. But just right there in their division, they've got another young, good team.
Speaking of quarterback or young up and coming quarterbacks, the Texans we mentioned them
Oh,
earlier.
God.
They made a lot of moves.
I'll
They
let you talk about the
They just
Texans.
signed Daniel Hunter for 2 years, 49 million.
That happened like right before
Yeah,
we
right
started
before we
recording.
started. They traded for Joe Mixon. They brought in Aziz Al-Shaair, who's decent. They re-signed Noah Brown. They brought in Jeff Okuda. But yeah, the big ones are Joe Mixon and Daniel Hunter. Nick is a Colts fan, shaking his boots.
Yeah,
You should be.
listen.
I
The Texans are a terrifying football team. I don't want to play them twice a year. The Texans are looking to be
dude,
like one of the premier contenders in the AFC.
the way they've turned this team around within a year
Yeah, a year and a half,
is crazy.
2 off seasons, pretty much.
I mean,
This Texans team is going to be really
like they were hitting it out of the park in the draft for the last like 2 years, and then I mean they hit literally out of the park
This past
with this
season.
pass.
aggressively out.
Getting-
I mean, dude, they
Getting
they
the offensive
hit
and
into the
defensive rookie of the year.
they hit it into the other ballpark.
Yeah,
They hit it to the other
they
ballpark.
smashed it.
Yeah, Derek Stingley in
I mean, Derek Stingley was
2022. Last year, CJ Stroud, Tank Dell, Will Anderson.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to talk about it.
This is a dang good football.
Yeah, they need a little bit of offensive line help. They re-signed Dalton Schultz, though.
They did.
Dalton Schultz is really good for them this past year.
Yeah.
C.J. Stroud is already a top 10 quarterback in the league. I mean, Danielle Hunter was one of the more underrated defensive players in the league.
Danielle
last
Hunter
year.
was second in the league in sacks.
Yeah, he had like 16 and a half sacks or something crazy this past year.
He was top 5 in sacks.
Yeah, so that adds a massive piece to their defensive line.
Yeah, he was
Ryan
fifth in
as head coach.
He was 5th in sacks with 16 and a half.
Yeah,
He's 29 though, but he should still be good.
the Texans like I think that's a good sign for them because I think the Texans are like one of the top 3 or 4 teams in the conference easily now.
I mean, then you bring in Joe Mixon, who's an upgrade from
he's a
Devin Singletary and Damian Pierce.
Yeah, he's a like we talked about. He's a Pro Bowl caliber running back. The offensive line needs a little bit of help, but if they address that in the draft, like the Texans could like
Do they?
win the AFC. Like I think
They
could
have
be
the
that good.
Browns pick, right?
Yeah,
So they have a late.
yeah. It's like 20.
mid-20s.
Yeah, mid
The
20s.
Texans.
Because the Cardinals have their pick from the Will Anderson.
Yes.
The Texans are going to be a really good team.
Yeah, the Texans are going to be a really really good team. I think they're. I'm not going to say clearly the best team in the AFC South because I actually think the AFC South is like a decent division now with the Jags and the Colts. But I think that if I had to pick today a team to win the division, it would be the Texans because I mean Danielle Hunter, Joe Mixon, C.J. Stroud, Tank Dell, like
Nico
Nico
Collins.
Collins, Dalton Schultz, Will Anderson, Derek Stingley. I hate how that. It's now like I'm just now realizing how many like very good to elite players at certain positions that they have. Like they are a terrifying team, and I don't want to play them twice a year. for the
Yeah,
next 10
you're in
years,
for a
but,
doozy.
yeah. We're building something too, though. It's not like we're.
I was just
doing
about to
nothing.
talk about you guys.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys, really all you did was re-sign your guys.
Yeah,
Which is good.
pretty much. Yeah.
That was
We
enough.
haven't really added much. Which is
Yeah.
fine.
I mean, their whole team really hinges on Anthony Richardson.
Yeah.
I think it still remains to be seen because he
Yeah.
played well in 5 games last year.
But then he was hurt.
We'll see.
Yeah.
He is still a very raw prospect. There's a lot of unknowns with him. If Anthony Richardson pans out, the Colts are going to be a really good team. If Anthony Richardson does not pan out, they're going to be
We're being in the similar situation.
six,
where you're
seven,
going
6-7
forward.
wins.
Yeah.
6-7 wins maybe.
I mean, the Jags, they got a little bit better too. They brought in Gabe Davis, who that was probably an overpay. They brought in Mitch Morris. They traded for Matt Jones.
That was just the weirdest.
That was the move.
Useless
free agency.
trade.
That
I've
was
ever
the-
seen
that
it.
was one of the most useless trades. But what do you think of the Gabe Davis deal? I think that's similar to like the Christian Kirk deal, where it's like
How much did they pay him?
3 years, 39.
So the same amount as Darnell Mooney.
Yes.
I think it's a better deal than Darnell Mooney.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's like a phenomenal deal.
but I still think it's the same. It's like Christian Kirk. We're like, okay, then let's. I mean, maybe Christian
pump the
Kirk,
brakes
like,
on judging the deal until it like.
Well, that and like Christian Kirk was like we were like I don't really know what he is, but like Gabe Davis, you know, he's literally a roller coaster, and so 3 years, 39, like that could end up being a good contract or it could end up being a bad contract. It also depends if they bring back Calvin Ridley or not, which they're trying to, I think.
Yeah,
Like
that's
Ridley,
Their receiving room is just weird.
Ridley wants to get back. Because
Like-
I mean, if you bring Ridley back, you have Ridley, Gabe Davis, and Christian Kirk, I think that's a solid wide receiver.
yeah, and Calvin Ridley too.
Yeah.
If you bring him back, that's a pretty good wide
He's
receiver.
pretty good. And Mitch Morse, he's better than who? Luke Fortner?
Yeah,
A lot better than
a lot better than Luke Ford.
Matt Jones, I couldn't tell you why they traded for Matt
That
Jones.
was useless.
That was like the Cowboys trading for Trey Lance. Like I really didn't. And the funny thing, every quarterback except Trevor Lawrence in that draft class has already been traded or will be traded.
Zach
Fields-
Wilson still.
Fields and Zach Wilson will be traded.
Yeah, they will not be on their team.
Trey Lance and Matt Jones have already been traded. So,
That was a terrible quarterback class.
and it was better than the one.
Better
The
than
year
after.
after. Yeah, that year was
That
just-
one's
Oh.
Kenny Pickett, Sam Howard,
That was so
Malik Willis.
bad.
Desmond Ritter.
Brock Purdy.
I mean, yeah.
Brock Purdy's the
Brock
best.
Purdy's
Yeah.
by far the best quarterback in that class. He was literally the last pick in the
Yeah.
draft.
That's absurd.
Brock Purdy's a good quarterback though.
Yeah, he is.
He's pretty good.
Yeah.
So
The Raiders got better. They signed Christian Wilkins for 4 years, 110, which is one of the biggest moves.
their D line's gonna be scary.
I am
Yeah.
not.
Tyree Wilson,
like-
Christian Wilkins, and
Max Crosby.
I mean Tyree Wilson still, but like hoping.
Kyrie Wilson was
Still be
not
good.
great last
No,
year,
he
but he
wasn't.
should be better.
And they got Colts legend Gardner Minshew.
Listen,
Then they released Jimmy G. They just didn't.
Gardner Minshew will always be a legend in my heart. The
Dude,
fact that
you got fans for like 5 teams
Yeah.
saying that. Like you got the
Well,
Eagles,
no,
the Jags.
It's Gardner Minshew.
Gardner
He's just a
Minshew's great.
legend.
listen,
And he is going to be. John is probably thrilled with that.
Oh, I'm sure
John's
he is.
probably like
He is a
jumping in
Raider.
his room right now.
He
Here,
is a Raider.
jumping in Armenia or wherever. He
Gardner Minshew is just a
John
man.
is-
Gardner Minshew is a rare breed of men in today's NFL.
He will be spending his days in an RV in Vegas.
and
listen,
that's what we like to
Gardner
see.
Minshew will forever be a legend in my heart. The fact that he brought me way more joy than Matt Ryan did is crazy to even say. But listen, I will always love Gardner Minshew. He's a hilarious guy. He played well enough this year, considering all the circumstances with our injuries and stuff. It's sad to see him go, but it probably had to happen. We have no reason to take
I
it.
just got a flashback of how terrible the Colts were with Matt Ryan
I don't
and
know.
Didn't you go watch a game?
oh, I
Yeah,
did.
you
like
watched the
that
Chargers
Thursday night
game,
game.
the Monday night game.
That was one of the worst football games.
Or they started Nick Foles for literally no reason.
Nick Foles.
That was
And
so
who was
bad.
was Herbert? Herbert wasn't playing.
No, Hurt played.
Oh,
He just didn't.
He
do
played
it.
terribly, but he
Yeah.
played.
Austin
He
Eckler
threw
had like
3
2
picks.
touchdowns.
The only Chargers Thursday night football game that would trump that would be the Raiders and Chargers game this year, where the Raiders destroyed that was the day that D'Angelo Vickers was born.
It was.
That was the day.
I had
Thanks at Chargers.
Thanks at
Vomit.
yeah, that's all I have to say about the Raiders. Their defensive line is going to be scary with Christian
Yeah.
Wilkins.
I'm
and
just
Crosby.
really not shedding a single sweat ounce.
Yeah,
of the Raiders.
they're still not going to be contenders, but the defense line will be tough.
Their defensive line is going to be really
But
good.
no, they're not.
I'm
I mean,
confused as to what they're building.
Yeah,
I don't know what they're going for here.
yeah, I don't know. They're in a weird. They're in the weird.
The Raiders are in like
They're
Football.
they're literally
Yeah.
in like
But, like,
limbo right now.
Yeah,
Like they just are like bare. Like people are just
they're
gonna
like
forget
worse
their team.
purgatory than like the Steelers.
I don't even know if I'd say purgatory. I just think they're in that space where people are just gonna forget their team.
Yeah,
Like I mean,
Those
just,
detections.
oh, who are the Raiders? Like who are these guys? Like I don't know, the black and
They
gray,
exist
like,
still?
that black and gray team. Like
Well, then
remember-
you think they have like Devontae Adams still there.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
He's like irrelevant now.
Yeah.
like,
He
what-
needs to leave.
They need to trade him.
like what
They
is
need
it?
to do a full rebuild.
I don't know what's going on with this team. I think Nick put it a good way. I don't
They
know
were
what's
about-
happening.
They were
with this
about to
team.
go into the year with Aiden O'Connell as their starting quarterback. They were.
No, Gardner Minshew is going to be the starter.
No, I know, but before
They're-
Gardner
so-
Minshew, they were
So they
full in
are.
on
So
Aiden
they are
O'Connell.
running a team of Gardner Minshew. Who's their running back?
Zamir White.
Okay.
Who was decent?
He's all right when he
I mean,
plays.
it's not Josh Jacobs.
So you're running a team of Gardner Minshew, Zamir White, Devontae Adams,
Michael Meyer.
Michael Meyer,
Jacoby Myers.
Jacoby Myers. He was good. Yeah, he was good. I told you all he was good last year.
Then on defense, you have Max Crosby.
A good D line, and then what the heck else
Christian
is there?
Wilkins. And yeah, I don't know.
That's about it.
Like what is
Yeah,
this?
they're
Like
not- they're
this is
definitely them and the Broncos are definitely the worst.
like this is a team that has a good defensive line and a superstar receiver, and then nothing.
You know the meme of the Lamborghini in the like decrepit house?
Yeah.
That's Devontae.
Yeah,
Yeah,
It's
right.
like, I don't know what this is.
Yeah, I don't know.
The Broncos, I think, are just like the Raiders are just in a weird spot. Like I have no clue what's going on in Vegas right now. The Broncos are terrible. The
Up there with
Broncos
the
are
Panthers.
awful.
Well, yeah, because their starting quarterback right now is Jarrett Stidham. And they
Sean
might,
Payton,
and
like,
they
did
might
he
not
take
be-
stupid pills?
they might not be
It's
in,
not up there.
they might not be in line to
He hated Russell Wilson though.
He did.
I'd rather have Russell Wilson than who the heck they got in there now.
Stidham. Well, and they're ones that are talked to get JJ McCarthy. Like that's one of the big ones.
Gosh,
I think
Broncos
them
are
and the Vikings
so
The
bad.
Vikings have a pick for them.
Yeah, so he might not even get there. They might.
The Broncos
they
might be screwed.
They might be drafting Bo
Quarterback.
Nix at 12.
Yeah.
The
I wouldn't be-
Broncos are so
I saw
bad.
somebody sent their entire camp to Bo Nix's camp. I forget who
It was Chicago, I think.
What?
I don't know why they did that.
Yeah. I don't
What?
know either. The Broncos are
They're bad.
They're
When they
in
check
contention to be the worst team in the NFL this year. I would say.
They are.
They lost.
No,
Which
they won't be
could
worse
be-
than the Panthers.
Which should be good, because if they are bad and they don't end up drafting a quarterback, I mean, you could draft like Quinn, Sugar, or
Yeah,
They'll have options.
they're going to be really terrible this year, but
They have they got a lot of problems beyond quarterback though.
Yes.
What the heck is this team? I mean, they have Pat Surtain. What the heck else do they have?
yeah,
They
it's like
released
the
Justin
Lamborghini in
Simmons.
the decrepit house with that's the thing.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's what I mean. Well, but I mean, at least the Raiders.
They're both the same. They're both like.
I feel like the Raiders have
the Raiders are better.
I feel like the Raiders have a direction. It's just a very strange direction. The Broncos are just sitting here on fire.
They've been on
Going
fire
nowhere.
since Russ.
Yeah.
I know, but like the Raiders, it's like, well, I mean, the Raiders have a couple. The Raiders have a good front four.
Yeah.
They got 4 good players. They got 5. They got 1 on offense. They got 2 on. Micah Mayers are. The Raiders have a couple pieces here and there.
Yeah.
I think the Raiders can eventually get somewhere. I'm not sure where they're going, but they might get there at some point. The Broncos are just sitting here like they are just a hot pile of flaming garbage
Yes.
going nowhere except dust. Like, this team is terrible.
Yeah, that's about all I have to say for Denver.
Yeah. So we'll move on. The Vikings, they did some things. They brought in Jonathan Grenard for 4 years, $76 million. They brought in Aaron Jones. They brought in Andrew Van Ginkel, Blake Cashman, Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold. Yeah, like, where do you think their direction is now with life without Kirk Cousins? I mean, they're like Nick just said.
If they get a quarterback.
They're at the spot where you could draft the J.J. McCarthy at what, 11?
Yeah, 11.
But then you have Justin Jefferson advocating for I want Justin Fields. Like, you gotta keep your his extension.
We all know where Jefferson's going to
His extension is I wouldn't say in jeopardy, but like his future with
the
the
Vikings
Vikings
is definitely up in the air.
Yeah,
Jefferson's?
it is. Yeah,
Oh.
it is.
I just told you. We all know where he's going.
Yeah.
Yeah, alright. Keep dreaming.
But like, what do you guys think of the state of like their team now? Without Kirk.
Minnesota.
I don't think they're in a great spot.
Minnesota.
I don't think
Minnesota.
Our president.
I don't- Here's the thing, Minnesota, they've got Jordan Addison, they've got T.J. Hawkinson, they've got Justin Jefferson. Their offense is loaded.
They just need a
They
quarterback.
just need a quarterback.
And
And they had one in Kirk
And
Cousins.
Ty Chandler.
Sam Darnold.
Ty Chandler is
Yeah.
there.
I mean,
Sam Darnold.
listen, all due respect to Sam Darnold, Sam
Sam
Darnold's not
Darnold.
taking it anywhere.
Sam Darnold leads them to like the division title.
That'd be crazy. Rewrites his legacy.
I think that the Vikings.
Colin Cowherd. No, yeah, Colin Cowherd still like the Sam Darnold.
Why? Why?
I think that until the Vikings get like a quarterback, I think they're going to kind of just be sitting at like a 6-7 win level, maybe 8-9.
I mean,
Not
there's still
nine,
plenty
not-
of time in free
I
agency.
mean, yeah. I
I-
mean,
but
they
they
could
gotta-
probably notch out 7-8 wins.
In
But
their
they've
current
got to
state
get a
of current
quarterback.
state.
They've got to get a quarterback, though. I mean, if you're going to compete in the division, you got to get a quarterback. I mean, if they get J.J. McCarthy, then I think the Vikings are looking pretty solid.
Yeah, they should.
But
But like,
at the current stage
does
that they're
J.J.
in,
McCarthy does he fit with their timeline? Because like you said,
I don't think he does.
they have enough talent to where they could probably do some stuff
They
now.
could win the division now if they still
Yeah.
had Kirk Cousins.
well, they got. I mean, they got rid of him.
Yeah.
I mean, they got to make.
He's gone now.
That's what I'm saying. Like they got they got good players across the board for the most part, but they kind of are just going to be sitting at a 7-win season until they get a quarterback.
Yeah.
And I don't know what quarterback they're going to get. I mean, Justin Fields, maybe. Justin Fields, maybe. I don't know, man.
I think Justin Fields.
Well, do you think Justin Fields fits their timeline
I
more
think he
than
fits their timeline more than J.J. McCarthy does.
Because at least he's
Really?
proven. Here, can you look unplug it before?
Oh, I'm playing for the wall.
He's at least more proven than JJ. I think JJ would significantly benefit from sitting here.
But
And I don't think he would be able to do that. You're not. I mean, I guess unless you want to sit him behind Sam Darnold, be my guest. But
Sam Darnold.
I don't
He
think
might
Sam
provide
Darnold-
him with insight. I don't
know.
Well,
Sam
okay,
Darnold would
like,
be the best.
I mean, if you think the Vikings are going to do something now, then they should probably be looking at
I don't
different
know if
routes
they're-
than
But
both of those.
I don't think they are going to do something now.
Well, then I would probably be revisiting the J.J. McCarthy suggestion.
I don't blame them for getting JJ McCarthy.
I think
it's
that
fine.
Justin Jefferson will be gone within a year, but I think they'll keep like Jordan Addison and P.J. Hawkinson.
If they keep those two guys, that's
if
fine.
Jefferson
honestly.
leaves, that Jordan Addison thing becomes way more valuable.
Yeah, it does.
Jordan
Not
Addison's
that
a good
Jordan-
receiver even if he's there.
Yeah, exactly. Not
I
that
mean,
Justin
like we
Jefferson.
saw Jordan Addison step up in his absence this year. He's a really good receiver.
Yeah,
The Vikings are gonna even if Justin Jefferson leaves and goes to
whatever.
he goes.
It's not going Cincinnati. It's not happening.
If Jefferson leaves and he
Yes,
goes to
Jamar Chase
the
and
jungle,
Joe Burrow will both take pay cuts and we'll be able to pay this.
I wish. If Justin Jefferson leaves and goes anywhere, it will be Cincinnati. But anywhere, I think that the Vikings are still in a solid position.
Yeah.
Receiver.
I mean, you obviously love that Justin Jefferson's the best receiver in the league.
But worst case scenario, he leaves, which he's probably going to. Then I mean, you're not
That could
like
be one
suffering.
of the all-time fumbles from the Vikings. Like you had an outstanding wide receiver let him go after his rookie contract.
Yeah. I think that's probably.
He's
I think he's gonna go. I genuinely think he's gonna. I don't know if he's gonna be a Viking anymore.
No, I can see.
I mean, without Kirk Cousins, I genuinely
Yeah, I
really
think
like Lee.
Jonathan Bernard, he's the Daniil Hunter
Daniil
replacement.
replacement.
That's all he really is. He's not as good as Daniil Hunter, but he's younger.
Aaron Jones is a better version of Alexander Madison.
Yeah. They're kind of just replacing guys with guys that are slightly better, but it doesn't matter because they don't have a quarterback right now. So
We're playing the waiting game until they get a quarterback, pretty much.
All right.
Could be worse though. It could be the Broncos or the Raiders.
All right. Moving on. Philadelphia Eagles. They made some big.
they made
moves.
a free agency move.
Yeah, I mean they brought in Saquon Barkley for 3 years, $38 million. They brought in Bryce Huff, re-signed Landon Dickerson, and as of just a couple hours ago, re-signed or brought back C.J. Gardner Johnson. But the big one obviously Saquon.
Yeah.
Him and Jalen Hurts are going to be.
Can I just?
I just got a very random flashback to where I thought the Cardinals were going to be genuinely a historically bad team last
You
year.
had them winning the season. Hey, you went too far off.
Could we
They
see?
won 4.
Could we see the
Yeah, they
Broncos?
won 4 games.
Could we see the Broncos or the Raiders taking that feat this
I
year?
don't think the Giants are going to be worse than both of them.
Because you looked at that Arizona team last year, and the only player I could confidently name on that team that
Hollywood
was
Brown.
relevant was Hollywood Brown and Kyler Murray, and Kyler Murray was hurt. So, like,
Buda Baker too.
yeah, but he was like,
If he's
going
the
into
best
the
player on
going
team,
into the
that's a problem.
season,
Yeah,
he was
exactly.
like more than likely getting a trade.
Yeah.
Cardinals.
Hey, but now they're about to have Marvin Harrison and Kyler Murray, which I love.
Yeah, that's
Oh, just like going into the year last year, that team was like, this is gonna be
Well,
really.
We
bad.
also said the Bucks were gonna have the worst quarterback room, and that didn't
That did not
happen.
happen. Their quarterback is now worth $100 million.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I want to say something real quick. The fact that Darnell Mooney is going to be making more money than Saquon Barkley is a crime. That is
It's
a
the
crime.
running back.
It's a crime.
But
It's the running back market though.
I was surprised that the running backs kind of flew off like that.
Yeah, I was too.
Like, you know, like obviously the running back market has been a big debate, but they went pretty quick.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they're not getting paid as probably what they
Saquon
like.
Barkley is 20 times the player of Darnell Mooney.
Well, obvious.
He is easily a top, probably
He's
3
gonna
running
be
back in the NFL.
He's gonna be really good. Except in fantasy, I would pick him because I know
Jalen
Jalen
Hurts
Hurts gonna
gonna
take
take
all his
all his
touchdowns.
Yeah.
Um,
So we'll talk fantasy a different day, but there are some different perspectives here.
As a team,
Yes.
it's
makes
a
it
great.
better.
Yes.
When he's going back
As a
to
fantasy
Pennsylvania.
player though,
As a Giants fan, you're pissed.
Well, yeah.
Because he just went
Kiki
to
Barber did say that Saquon is dead to him.
Yeah, I mean, he just went to a division rival and a team that is already really good.
That
Already
is-
Super Bowl caliber.
That is rough, dude. I mean, that is like that. Dude, Saquon Barkley just
That would be like if
he just smacked him in the nuts.
that
and
would
they
be like
never
if
throw
Jamar
the ball.
Chase went to the Steelers. Like that's what.
I would never forgive.
Like that's
I
what.
would
That's,
never forgive.
Exactly. Like that's what Saquon was to the Giants.
Yeah, that's brutal.
I also love how I know we're not talking about the Eagles, but how immediately they gave Daniel Jones this massive contract, and then this offseason they're like, yeah, we really regret doing that. we should not.
We should not have done that.
And because of that, we lost our best player in the last 5 years.
The Giants are morons.
Like,
Shout out Tyler.
Yeah. we really regret doing it.
I said it at
was
the
so
time. I was like,
bad.
Oh, we all
160
did.
I was like, 160
Everyone
mil
said
for
that.
Daniel
That was a-
Jones is absurd.
That was
like
an
the general manager
egregiously
like,
bad
legitimately
contract.
said during the combine, we regret the Daniel Jones contract.
That was
And we would
so
like to get
terrible.
off it as soon as possible. Like they're in play where they're like JJ McCarthy at 6 is looking very
They're
enticing
like, it's
for
like,
them.
we might have to bite the bullet on this one. For JJ McCarthy is a top 10 pick. That is the
so-
situation that they're in.
Oh,
Alright,
dude, they're
talking
so
about that.
bad.
Yeah, Saquon Barkley elevates that offense. I don't know how much more it could be elevated, but we'll see. I'm blanking on the guard they re-signed. Landon Dickinson, that's who it was. Landon Dickinson's really good. Re-signing him is huge. CJ Gardner-Johnson was he was hurt a lot last year, but he was not great.
He was decent. He was good with the Eagles.
Yeah, he was good with the Eagles.
I'm
He
not
was-
horrified
Oh, wait,
of
he-
this team. though,
yeah,
no.
yeah,
He was with the Eagles before.
Yeah, he was with the Eagles, and then he went to the Lions, and now he's back with the
Back
Eagles.
with the Eagles.
I understand.
I'm not like terrified of this Eagles team, though, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Like going into last season, I was like, these guys are a freaking juggernaut. But going into this year, I'm like,
It's because Hurts took a step back.
yeah. Well, like going into this year, I'm like, oh, like yeah, they're a good team. They're a contender in the NFC, but I'm not like these guys are just. These guys are like an unbeatable juggernaut
Yeah.
team. Like
Yeah.
I mean, they also
they lost.
Fletcher Cox and Jason.
Uh-huh.
Kelsey.
Yep. Yeah. So and those are two pretty big hits for them for sure. But yeah,
But
I mean
you
their
also have
backfield
Jordan
squad.
Davis and Jalen Carter to fill that role.
Yeah, I mean their
Fletcher
backfield.
Cox is not that big of an issue.
Their backfield
Kelsey-
squad's
Kelsey will
1,200 pounds. So I mean,
I mean, you got Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts. Saquon Barkley, in and of himself, squats like that much. too. So
That tweet I sent you.
Yeah.
The McCogney tweet. That was funny.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, yeah. It's basically the big thing was just Saquon Barkley just makes that offense.
probably
so
the
much better.
second biggest signing of free agency behind Kirk Cousins. I would say.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Poor Giant fans. Poor Giants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Like,
bad.
The Giants,
Oh my gosh.
since Eli Manning, or since the tail end of Eli Manning, just like an awful. I mean,
He's been awful since like 2016.
I know that's bad.
the tail end of Eli Manning.
Yeah.
I mean, you had your fake.
2022 season
They would probably trade that playoff win.
to keep Saquon.
What the
Yeah,
heck
They
was
would
that?
probably trade that playoff win to not have Daniel Jones and keep Saquon. I guarantee you they would.
How the heck
Do
did
that
the
on-
Giants win that many games
If you
and go
asked,
to the division round
asked Tyler if
playoffs?
he would trade that season to still have Saquon and not have Daniel Jones, on
He
that
would say
contract,
yes,
He would
in a
definitely
heartbeat.
say yes.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious. The Giants fans would rather trade in a successful season and a playoff win
For Saquon
for
Barkley.
Saquon Barkley.
How did they win a playoff game? How did that happen?
The 2022 season was a
Like,
weird time.
what in the world?
The Giants were technically one of the 8 best teams in the NFL like a year ago, and now they're.
It's like the
allowed to stop.
Steelers making the playoffs. Like, this is a bad football team. Why are they in the playoffs? Like,
Speaking of the Steelers, they brought in Russell Wilson, who is no great for Kenny Pickett.
That is not great for the
I-
vet minimum too.
I-
I think that's the big problem for that.
I really don't think that turns the take that much.
It doesn't. They're gonna
It
go
doesn't.
from 10-7
But
to
they'll
10-7.
But they'll,
Yeah.
they'll look better.
They'll look better. They'll have better quarterback play.
And then
Kenny
Russell-
Pickett's freaking terrible.
Yeah, he's awful.
Kenny Pickett is so bad.
And then, we talked about it earlier. They brought in Patrick Queen.
That's huge to them. That defense is not that much better.
You have Kenny Pickett. You got Mac Jones. You got Ryan Tannehill, Desmond Ritter. I think those are your worst quarterbacks.
Our
in the
quarterback tier list is going to be fun when we
This
do
year,
that.
yeah, late, yeah, in the summer.
We're only doing starters though, right? Only starting.
Yeah,
quarterbacks.
only starting
quarterbacks.
Nick did backups.
Yeah, I can do backups.
So we can't even. I can't even trash on Mac Jones and Kenny Pickett anymore.
That's true.
I'm gonna. I'll have to
We
give
can
him.
still throw.
I'm gonna say.
We
I'll
can
have
do
to-
an honorable mention.
I know. I was gonna say.
Backups.
I'll have to give him special shout outs.
Yeah.
Special shout
For how
out.
terrible they both
You
are.
both are garbage. Have fun being backup.
Like you are so bad that I had to give you a shout out for your badness.
Yeah. But I mean, I think Russ is going to be better, obviously, but I don't know how him and Arthur Smith are going to gel. Because Arthur Smith likes.
I forgot that
Yeah,
he
he's
was
their
the
OC.
OC.
He's a good OC.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's egregious.
But Arthur Smith likes to throw the ball down the middle, and
Russ
doesn't do that. So, and I mean, you have Kenny.
They aren't gonna
You have
use
George
their
Pickens
players.
and Pat Fryermuth, and then you're running back. So that's kind of it.
They're not gonna use any
No,
of them.
Mike Tomlin will make sure it happens. Mike Tomlin's not an idiot.
Yeah, but
Why did they hire him?
He's an all-right offensive
He could be
coordinator.
decent.
There's a reason he got the head coaching job in Atlanta.
Oh, but he
Hey,
shouldn't have.
I hope he's like he was in Atlanta. That'd be awesome.
Yeah,
Oh,
that'd be great.
If he gives Jalen Warren like 40 carries and doesn't get
Not even Najee Harris.
Yeah, doesn't play Najee Harris.
No, he's gonna give Jalen Warren's better than Najee Harris. He'll give Najee Harris all the carries.
Whoever is
They
the
both have
worst,
1,000 yards.
whoever's the worst player, that's who's gonna get the ball more.
Pat
That's how
Frymuth
Arthur
will-
Smith works.
Pat Frymuth, his stock just tanked.
Like I won't take a single Steeler.
Darnell
fantasy.
Washington.
Not one.
Darnell
Not one.
Washington is going to
Darnell Washington's gonna go off this
because
year.
he's a blocking tight end.
Darnell Washington is going to have a career year because Pat Frymuth is the better player. That's how it goes. That's how Arthur Smith. George Pickens is not going to do crap this year.
Yeah, that's true. George Pickens had a really good year last. I didn't
Well,
realize
if he ain't going to do it this
he
year,
had more yards than Michael Pittman did last year, which is like crazy.
he will have significantly less this year.
Yeah, have fun with a 400-yard season.
Arthur Smith is so bad. Why is he coaching in the NFL? Why is he coaching?
You think you should be like a Cinnabon worker?
Yes! I thought we were past the Arthur Smith thing, but I forgot. He's still in the NFL.
And he's an OC now since let's go.
I mean, I will praise him now because, I mean, thank goodness the Steelers have him.
He'll get less spotlight.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be like, dude, Steelers, thank you for hiring this imbecile.
All right, we just have 3 more teams to cover. Then we can finish. So, the Bucks, they re-signed. They didn't really sign anybody, but they re-signed a lot of key guys. They re-signed Lavonte David, Baker Mayfield, Mike Evans, and Tony Winfield.
Similar to the Colts, where it's like they kept their main guys. Again.
Baker got 3 years, 100. What do you guys think of that contract?
I think it's deserved.
Fair contract.
Yeah, I think it might be a slight overpay,
Slight
but it's only
overpay.
3 years, so it's like
Yeah.
it's not going to cripple them.
I wasn't shocked by this contract.
Yeah.
No. And then bringing back Mike Evans, that was huge.
That's huge.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean they didn't really do a whole.
Yeah, Lavonte David was big too. Antoine Winfield is one of the best safeties in the league.
I think they'll contend for the South.
They could be. It'll be them and the Falcons. They could get a wild card spot.
Oh,
Probably.
I think there's a good chance.
Depending on if this wasn't like a one-off season with Baker, like if he stays.
If he actually,
I really don't
continues
think
his
it is.
decent play.
I
I
don't
don't
think
think it
Baker
is.
Mayfield's that
No,
bad.
I don't think he's either. But during his career, he said years ago he's really good, and then
Yeah.
the following year he kind of
Yeah.
So we'll see. Plus they lost Dave Canales, which that could hurt.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting. But I mean, like the whole reason that he was bad the second year with the Browns is because, well, not his second year, but
Yeah,
his
but then
injury.
he went to the Panthers and he was objectively terrible.
Yeah, I don't really.
But
know about
I
that.
root for him.
I don't know what
I
that
do too.
like.
I love Baker Mayfield.
Like what was that Panther stretch? Like he was overall.
It
He
was
was
probably because he's on the Panthers.
probably overall he was good with the Browns. He had a good run with the Rams for a couple games, and then he had a great season with the Buccaneers. Like he just had a random awful
Yeah.
stretch with
He
the
was-
with the Panthers.
he was good. He got in the league. He was good with the Browns, and then he had the COVID year where he was like, okay, this guy's a borderline top 10 QB, like future of the Browns. Got hurt, and the Browns paid sexual predator $230 million, and then he got released. So then he's down here, and then he was terrible with the Panthers,
Yeah.
and now he's at the lowest he's ever
Then he
been.
was decent with the Rams.
And then they cut him,
Yeah.
and then he signed with the Bucks, and everyone's like, okay, he's terrible, and now he's getting $100 million.
Yeah, like it's
It's a weird career.
It is.
I don't understand that Panther stretch.
He's $100 million.
I mean,
richer.
he was awful
Yeah.
with the Panthers.
I wonder if he's gonna make more. Progressive
I
commercials.
think hasn't Kirk Cousins made like $300?
He's made more money than Tom Brady has in the NFL.
Yeah.
He's made an insane amount of
He's
money.
made over
His
$400
agent
million.
deserves around an applause. That guy-
I bet it's not T. Higgins' agent.
Not Lou or whatever.
That
Yeah,
moron.
Kirk Cousins has made more money in the NFL than Tom Brady did. Obviously, today's money is different than
Yeah.
2000's money, but still.
Tom Brady also signed like a gajillion
Yeah,
million
Tom-
dollar deal with Fox.
Yeah, at the time.
Well, he would also take pay cuts.
Yeah.
Because his ex.
Which I would love to see Burrow do.
Well, the difference between Burrow and Tom Brady is Tom Brady, when he was with Giselle, he was double his net worth. He did not need any of the money.
That's true. Hey,
Now he does.
Joe
No,
Burrow
it's
would
like-
be a supermodel.
Oh, Joe Burrow can date anyone he wants.
Um,
Why are we discussing this?
you never know what happens. The Titans, they signed Tony Pollard for 3 years, $24 million, and they brought ex-Bengal Chidobe Awuzie to join Brian Callahan.
I like this.
Yeah, I think I wasn't I thought they were just going to give the keys to Tajay Spears.
I did too.
But I guess Tony Pollard is. I mean, you have him and Tajay Spears, who they're kind of the exact same running back. But
I like it.
That's
I think
cool.
it's a good running back room. I think the Titans are going to start going in a different direction.
it all hinges on Will Levis. If Will Levis is actually good, then yes.
Yeah.
And they need some more receivers. I don't trust DeAndre Hopkins, Traylon Burks.
Yeah.
No, not at all. They definitely need a receiver.
D-Hop is alright, but he's at the tail
But
end
they're
of his career.
making.
I don't
They're
think
making better moves.
Tennessee's not. They've set themselves up to a spot where they could be turning a corner in like a year. I don't think they're going to be
And
good
I
this
think
year.
they're
but,
projected to draft Joe Alt.
Yeah.
So like you get him or like Fuaga or Fashanu, like you get your offensive tackle, and you just have to hope and pray that Will Levis is the guy you think he is. And I mean, they're still the worst team in the AFC South.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think they're getting
But
better.
I like the hiring of Brian Callahan, and I mean they seem to be aggressive with their moves.
I think they're getting better.
It just depends on what Levis.
Chidobe Awuzie is a good signing for their secondary.
Yeah.
He's a good.
He's a
corner.
good vet guy for sure.
Yeah.
A little out of his prime, I think, but
Yeah, he is. All right, last team we'll talk about, the Commanders. They signed Austin Eckler to 2 years, $11 million.
this was foolish.
Yeah, they brought in Frankie Louvu, Marcus Mariota, Jeremy Chin. But
I
the big one was Austin Eckler.
I don't know what they're doing
I don't know what to do.
because they have the most cap. They have the most cap space in the league by like $15 million.
All the Patriots did.
I think the Commanders.
The Commanders are second. Patriots have like 103 million.
Yeah, the Patriots had like a.
They didn't, but then they cut J.C. Jackson.
Oh, and then they got a
15.
bunch of. Yeah.
Dude, I would I will beat the Patriots in Madden, dude. I mean, give me that money, brother, and I will be in the playoffs the
Who did
next
The
season.
Patriots, they signed Jacoby Brissett, Antonio Gibson, and then they just resigned the rest of the guys.
Yeah.
They never-
So that's what they use the money on.
Well, they're
Nice.
working on getting Calvin Ridley.
Yeah, they're trying to get.
Like Calvin Ridley isn't thrilled about playing there, but the paycheck might be there.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they can also
The Commanders.
I don't know what the
and
they
Austin
have.
Eckler.
They have a ton of cap space, and they're building like a subpar team.
I don't know what.
Like they're probably going to draft Drake May, but outside of that, like what are you going to?
But you don't need Austin Eckler. You have Brian
Right.
Robinson.
That's I don't know
He
why
was
they're
good.
signing him.
That was just kind of a dumb.
Austin Eckler. I think Austin. I've said this for like a couple of years now. Austin Eckler is overrated.
Yeah.
The only reason he was good in LA is because of the scheme he was in.
And he's a good fantasy player.
Yeah.
Which he wasn't last year because he was terrible.
Yeah. Austin
Like last year
Eckler.
was his worst year.
He's like slow. You can't really be slow as a running back. He's got good vision, but I mean, you kind of have to be if you're a hybrid running back receiver. So I don't think Austin Eckler moves the needle at all. I don't think they needed him. $11 million is not too terrible, but
It just was.
I didn't
it just didn't need to be
That
done.
was one of the
Yeah.
more confusing signings.
Yeah.
I was like, what the heck? Like,
The
why?
Commanders are just a terrible. I mean,
I mean,
what
you-
is this
you get,
franchise?
you get Drake May. You could be on the up,
Could.
but they just traded away their entire defense line.
For a bag of chips.
Yeah.
like, what is this franchise?
They make good moves and then they make really questionable moves. They're better off than they were with Dan Snyder. I give you that.
Wow, yeah.
That's because Dan Snyder's like actually a terrible person.
It can't get much worse.
But no, I don't understand the Austin Eckler. I don't understand.
I
It
don't
makes,
know.
like, you have Brian Robinson who's like 24, and I mean, he's good. Like, I thought he was pretty good. I mean, and then you had Antonio Gibson. You could like the Pats got him for like $2 million. You could have definitely just re-signed him.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Pats got him for 3 years, $11 million, which is
It's like $4 million a year.
yeah.
About.
You could have given him that. So,
The Commanders are just.
but then now you have 29-year-old, 30-year-old Austin Eckler's corpse, and then you have
For more money than Antonio Gibson got paid
yeah,
per year.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
And
What are they doing?
and then you yeah. I mean,
Just re-sign
He's
Antonio
not-
Gibson.
he's not gonna he's not gonna start over Brian Robinson, right?
He might.
I probably.
He
He
still
probably
will,
will.
because
But
Brian
like, that's
Robinson's
dumb.
better.
Brian Robinson's good.
The Commanders are terrible football team.
But I mean, like the Commanders, like at least the way I think of it, like you bring in Drake May, you have Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, you have Curtis Samuel, and then you have Brian Robinson. That offense isn't bad.
If Drake May pans out, he's got tools to like. perform.
If Drake May is who I think he could be, that's pretty solid. I mean, he's the next for Sam Howell.
Sam Howell's bad though. So, okay.
Sam Howell was good. Sam Howell was good. Then he turned into Jameis Winston and threw for 50 touchdowns and 50 picks, basically. So. But there was a stretch where Sam Howell actually looked like a decent quarterback.
The first like
I was
6
never
games
sold
of
on
the
him.
year-
Then he threw like 7 interceptions.
Let me look at
and
his
his
stat
like,
line.
touchdown to interception ratio was like 2 to 7. Or something like that.
Yeah, he had 22 touchdowns, 22 picks.
That's what I'm saying.
That's
Literally
egregious.
Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston reincarnated as a white man.
Do we have any other
Let me look at
questions?
his.
Nope. The last question was "Yo, what's up, Nick?" by Aaron Jensen.
Hey, I know that guy.
But
What's
that-
up, Aaron?
But that
I mean-
was like a while ago.
Yeah.
Shoot. Joel texted me and told us to give him a shout out. So
Shout out Joel.
Shout out
Couldn't
Joel,
be here
couldn't be
today.
here.
We'll be back.
his baseball team won tonight.
Good.
So we like to
Good
hear.
job, Joel. Great coaching. I know you would have some stuff to talk about the Bengals, obviously.
Okay. All right.
We're not starting.
We're not
with
starting
the
this
Bengals
again.
No,
question.
I'm just gonna throw something out here with you because we were talking about Joel. I realized that I probably overreacted to the Bengals, and I tend to overreact with the Bengals. But
you realize that. Actually, I'm gonna let him keep going. There's no
but
much.
Joel, I love the guy, but he is that like plucky, positive, like annoying like guy. You know what I'm saying? Like you know that like just really plucky, positive guy. That's like, dude, like come on now, like you know what I'm talking about?
Always glass half full.
Like
Like
oh,
never,
like
never realistic.
yes. It like that's him because I kid you not. In one of our group chats, I think you're in the chat, but
That might be on
I don't know if you saw it or not, but I said like I said something about like, oh crap, like this is gonna be bad. We're losing T. Higgins. And his response was, Zach, literally it's okay, we just re-signed Drew Sample. Really?
Yeah, that's a Drew Sample
Like,
is the quality of player of T. Higgins. That's true.
He is a football
He
player.
is a football player.
I read that and I was like, are you kidding me?
Everything's all good. We re-signed Drew Sample.
That's what he said!
No
And
disrespect to Drew Sample. Like, you're
And-
a lot better of a football player than most of the other people on the planet, but
Well, yeah, but like, I mean, still.
I would rather have T. Higgins. than
Yeah!
Drew
And so, and my response was, in all caps, holy crap, dude, we just got Drew Sample, we're gonna win the Super Bowl now. I was like, dude, like, okay, I do tend to overreact. Like, I realize that. I kind of I jump real quick with the Bengals. I do, okay? But on the same hand, that's absurd.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta take, like, I mean, positivity is a great thing, but, like, you gotta take that pluckiness down a little bit, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, we just lost T. Higgins. That's, like, actually not good. Like, I overreact, yes, but that's a big blow.
Yeah.
I don't think us re-signing Drew Sample does crap. I mean, seriously. I was like, are you kidding me right now?
The
Shout out Joel, though.
Donato Cincy just tweeted, "Hey, at Jay Jettas, free pizza for life. If you come to Cincinnati, we know a guy."
Why doesn't he come? Look at us. Is he getting free chili, free pizza?
Awesome.
I'm sure we'll buy him a house.
Someone tweet. I don't want to get
Why
into, I don't
not?
want to get into this like too much, but this is a funny tweet. Someone tweeted, "Jets fans going to be big mad when Rodgers doesn't play in 2024, so he can be Robert Kennedy's running mate."
I saw that. Poor Jets fans. Man, them
Breaking McDonald's is signing Kadarius Toney to a 3-year, $9 per hour deal.
That's huge for McDonald's.
dude, if Justin Jefferson came to Cincinnati, like the city would pay for
The city would burn.
The city would buy his
I would
home.
burn the city.
The city will buy his mansion. They will buy his vehicles. They will
build
buy
a
his
mansion.
food. He will live for free in Cincinnati. He will get free food, free everything. He will just live there and play football.
We'll
for
pay
free.
for his utilities. We'll do everything.
Oh yeah,
Someone
they can
tweeted-
raise the city taxes and they wouldn't care. They would pay for Justin Jefferson to come to Cincinnati.
Schefter tweeted, "New England is pushing to sign free agent wide receiver Calvin Ridley, but sources believe that he currently prefers to return to Jacksonville." Someone tweeted, "He wants Mac Jones throwing him the ball in Jacksonville so he can bet on the under every week."
Why is Mac Jones a Jaguar? I don't understand.
That was one of the.
There was a Justin Jefferson picture, Evan.
There's a lot of Justin Jefferson pictures on my timeline.
I think the last big
Dude, the
question-
rumors have been exploding.
Yeah.
Why did that start happening?
Because
Didn't
Jamar
Jamar
Chase's
Chase-
tweet.
yeah.
What the heck does that mean?
I don't know.
His tweet and then the
I guess
Bengals.
we'll never know.
The
Didn't
Bengals
he come out?
post.
Didn't he add Justin Jefferson? He'd be like, "Hey, can you like calm these guys down?"
Yeah,
I didn't mean anything by that.
yeah. But like, what does he mean by that though? What was the point of that tweet?
NFL sports players like to make cryptic tweets. That's just kind of
That-
Especially wide receivers.
Yeah.
But then what was the Bengals tweet then?
I don't know.
Like, what was that all
They
about?
probably just want something.
Maybe,
to
well,
happen.
maybe because maybe tomorrow's like the day that I actually sign pen to paper. Maybe they can actually officially sign.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably what it was. So it's probably just they were just absolutely screwing all their fans over. Pretty
Yeah.
much.
Before we wrapped it up, we were talking about Joe Mixon, how he's a Bengals legend. He still has more touchdown passes than the majority of quarterbacks in the NFL in the Super Bowl.
It's true.
It's true.
He does.
He does have a touchdown pass in the Super Bowl.
He has more touchdown passes in the Super Bowl than Lamar Jackson.
It's true. He
Real
does.
and true.
That's what Barstool Cincinnati.
Real and freaking
That's
true.
what Barstool Cincinnati.
That is real and true.
Shout out Cincinnati.
Shout out Joe Mixon, man. Bengals legend. Third place.
I hope you do well in Houston.
Oh yeah.
I hope
I am
that
rooting.
you don't.
I am
Also,
rooting for
did you
him.
see Debo switched his number from 19 to 1?
Yeah, that's sweet. Joe Mixon is third place in franchise rushing yards and second place in franchise rushing touchdowns. Bengal legend, heck of a
Joe
run.
Burrow is also tied for first. Not Joe Burrow. Joe Mixon's also tied for first in Super Bowl rings with 0.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Get off this podcast. We're done.
I'm giving Joe Mixon a shout out.
Joe Mixon, I hope you do bad in Houston, not because I want you to, but because it benefits the Colts. But
This guy hates you.
I don't hate you. I think you're a good player, great player, Pro Bowl caliber running back. I just don't want you to succeed in Houston.
All right. Any other?
Any questions? Anything else we want to discuss?
Yeah, there's no other questions.
Nothing too interesting. What all was asked?
Nuck. Roman said nuck.
Real.
Shout out.
Shout out Roman.
And then Parker said Fields to Minnesota or Bears keep Fields and get Marvin Harrison. And then
We answered that.
CB said, what do you guys think the Bengals should do with their running back situation?
We answered that with a 40-minute discussion.
And then Aaron said, yo, what's up, Nick?
Yeah. I need to respond to all these people. Tell them.
All of Nick's fans.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Roman tried to FaceTime me an hour ago. I didn't answer it.
What?
I just now saw that. So.
When you said Parker, I thought you were talking about Parker Penrod at first. I was like, wait, he's playing a basketball game right now.
I wonder if they're winning.
Huh?
I wonder if they're winning.
They won.
They did.
They won by like 10. They played Jackson Center. So they're playing Rushi Friday at 7.
They're going to get slaughtered again.
I think it's going to be a good game, honestly.
I think they're going to get slaughtered again.
She is my dream woman, Weaver.
Who
She
is
this? We'll end the live stream and then we can talk.
Oh, her! Yeah.
Alright, well, that's going to wrap it up for us. Yeah, if you guys enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe. And yeah, free agency has been crazy. The NFL off season's in the full gear. We're hyped about it, so we're going to have all the content for you guys throughout the off season as we already have been. But yeah, thank you all for watching. Have a good day. Peace. Oh, my phone's probably dead.
Wayne is crashed out central? What does this even mean?